And that's when I decided I wanted to breed.
Welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 142 for April 28th, 2018. You can email the show at Cosmicgodsdie at gmail.com. There's a lot of twos and eights in there. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter SwineBro666. As ever, I'm your loquacious host, Ellie Lindemood.
I am Jim, the Seeing Eye Mutant.
And we are back on Saturday, live and uncensored as usual.
Unless they decide to shut down the channel again.
Well, yeah, but hey, fuck them. So we have stories. We thank you for watching the little shit I did with Scott a couple days ago, and we have new stories.
Yeah. And here's one right here. Will millennials make America whole?
The answer is no. Speaking as someone who was born in 1994, I had to go to school with them for 17 years.
Uh-huh. Build a wall and my generation will tear it down, read a sign held by a young anti-Trump protester. It's absolutely useless because, yeah. You know he's a politician, ergo asshole. Why are you doing this?
Because some people don't know that politicians are assholes. Some people actually think that politicians have the public's interest at heart. I still wish I was joking.
Yeah, I wish I was joking whenever I said the entire generation learned to trust politicians whenever who the fuck taught them that?
Well, everyone pretty much. I mean, you're conditioned from an early age in this country to believe that if you're a Republican, then all Republicans are good, and if you're a Democrat, all the Democrats are good.
Yeah,
If you're
fuck you.
and you're
They're
conditioned
all
to believe
scum and deserve euthanized at the end of their fucking terms.
I mean, it was fun watching it. I didn't pay attention much in 2012, but I did in 2008 for some reason. The Obama thing and how so many people believed in his hope and change. I'm going to practice hope and change.
Oh, it was fucking hilarious. I was just watching, like I was just going down this fucking hole, because, this black guy said, well, I was red pill. I checked it. I was like, yeah, I used to be this diehard liberal saying kill Whitey and all this shit. Then we elected Obama. Now I am conservative as fuck. And like some of these guys, and I followed the whole watching like about 16 different black guys, and like some of them were like, the more traditional, hey, I can debate you kind of conservatives, and others go way off the deep end into like fucking shit. I hope black genocide happens.
I mean,
you're a black guy saying you hope black genocide happens just because they pissed you off. Obama pissed you off that bad? What?
but I mean, I had no. It's to quote Jello Biafra, who I don't always agree with, but I do sometimes. I expected nothing from Obama and got even less than that. Like it was literally, I expected nothing. It was still disappointed somehow because he's the Rodney King of presidents. He's
another rich guy in the White House. Like I said, if you really want change, vote for a homeless man.
Or vote for you or me.
Especially me. I'll change things up. I'll bring this as close to an anarchic fuck the government state that we can.
I'll
You'll
change
have
things.
A police force that like enforces like 3 laws.
I'll change things up. I found a new role model, not based on his, because I've never actually seen the show, but just based on his name, from the animated series The Tick, the evil midnight bomber what bombs at midnight. That's pretty much
the Tick. Yes, I'm the mad bomber that what bombs at midnight.
Yes, that's who I will base the that's who I will base the campaign after.
Yes. You see, my campaign is simple. I just wish to defecate on the White House lawn.
Well, you heard about, I think, Trump pissed in Obama's bed in Russia or something, or a bed in Obama slept in. I think that needs to be a ritual. You have to at least once piss in the bed of your predecessor.
Yes. Honestly, I think that I should rig it so that anytime someone signs into federal office, Senate, Congress, or president, that they have to get a homeless man from like somewhere to shit on them. as part of the inauguration process, so that way they know who the fuck owns them.
Welcome to G.G. Allen territory.
Yeah.
I like it.
At a recent rally, a cry reiterated by Representative Joe Kennedy in his response to President Trump's State of the Union address.
I didn't watch the State of the Union address because I can't stand the motherfucker's voice.
Yeah. That sentiment could serve as a slogan for millennials, now in their 20s and early 30s, who are well placed to serve as a bridge between the older adult population and the Americans who are now in their teenage years or younger.
I can serve as a bridge. I
remember thinking that when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I realized, no, I'm not, because fuck these fuckers. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
If I just had a little more charisma, though, Jim, I could be a cult leader and serve as a bridge.
Dude, I had many opportunities to be a fucking cult leader, and I turned it down because I realized I would go to jail. Because all it would take would be me getting pissed off once. Just once. And people would be preparing for the end times by slaughtering their neighbors.
It's sort of like Jim Jones. He had one, like, they didn't even do anything. Like, they went to visit, and he went berserk and shot at them. And then he went, okay, guys, now it's time to kill yourself because someone knows about us.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite stories ever. If you don't know the story, if you're living under a rock, Jonestown, a congressman and people went to Jonestown to sort of investigate, and they took a couple defectors with them. And Jonestown crew went berserk and shot at them and killed the congressman and a couple other people. And that night, Jim Jones decided, okay, it's time to die, and mass suicide.
Yep. I used to have a wallpaper that was cut from Mad Magazine. Back when Mad Magazine could do really, really cool shit. And what it was they were making fun of, like, the Warner Brothers store, and they had a bunch of Bugs Bunny material up there that looked really fucked up. And one of them was a rendition of the Jonestown Massacre with Daffy Duck playing the part of Jim Jones.
I can't do a Daffy Duck voice, but I'm just picturing him doing the Jim Jones speeches.
Yeah, and he's there handing out the Kool-Aid, and the Taz was there. Like, I wish I still had it.
It was just funny because I remember watching a thing about Jim Jones, and my parents were like, isn't it awful? I'm just like, I did not laugh.
Yes, I remember whenever my generation thought it would be the bridge of the gap, and it wasn't. I just remember, and everyone in my generation is just looking at the younger ones saying, dear God, you're fucking shit up worse. How?
Yeah, well, and I thought Generation X was supposed to be the sucky ones.
I
mean, the generation before that was fun because you had punk and metal. And then you had sort of the mid-90s generation that was like, okay, some good bands, but...
Yeah. Because people spawned into the hippie rhetoric a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. And then slacked off a lot.
Yeah, and the slacker grunge rhetoric.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yep. Congratulations. That's your heritage right there.
Yeah, I know. It was still better than what the fuck you guys are doing.
Well, yes. Yeah, but this show...
Doing nothing is better than doing something and fucking it all up.
True, but, Swine Brothers, so...
One major fault line in our divided America is generational.
And that's how it's been. Wait. And that's how it's been for how long? What did the World War II vets say about the nigger music? Was you playing that jungle Negro music up there? What did the 50s rockers say about the 60s?
Let's go way back about 4,000 or 5,000 years. And you have the book of Ecclesiastes and the fucking Christian Bible and fucking Judaism. That shit right there still said, the next generation is going to fuck up everything I did because they're the next
Every generation thinks that, and then you had the 70s.
Every generation looks at their kids and says, dear God, these guys are going to fuck shit up.
And then you had the 70s metal and punk people who the 60s flower power guys didn't like. And then you had the 80s when metal went heavier, and you had Black Sabbath fans going, huh? What the hell's this? And then you had death and black metal, when even thrash metal guys were like, I'm getting off the boat here.
Yeah.
So yeah, every generation thinks that the next one is ruining it. They're making noise, and yeah.
And half the time they are, half the time they're not. Only the time will tell. It's just pretty sad whenever I got fucking moron here from that generation saying, dear God, my generation's fucking everything up.
Well, no, that's the thing though, is like but I mean, nowadays they're not really being like transgressive and annoying, because, well, I mean, they are in a different way, but but they're also trying to relive past generations, something that very few generations did. For example, I know a punk guy who says that he likes modern punk because he likes punk, but he said, you guys should be making music that makes me want to pull my hair out. You should be making music so annoying that I won't listen to it. But you guys are just making music that we made 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is a weird generation.
The last 3 presidential elections, for example, showed a sharp split among the dimension of age. Just wait till the next generation comes in and starts going completely red. It'll make you go insane.
I knew 20-year-old Trump supporters.
Yeah, I knew fucking, oh God. I bumped into a few. They're like, yeah, I like him because he shit talks. Wow. That's your criteria for presidential material. He shit talks.
In that case,
Swine Brothers already. I mean, if it's that low, come on. I will fucking shit on everything you ever believed in.
Yes, Swine Brothers for president. I can't run for another 13 years, but I do have a good running mate.
Hey, I can make you a czar of something that I don't even give a shit about and let you fuck it up to your heart's content. Like good, national security. I'll let you fuck up national security. How about that?
But I have Jenny Thompson for your running mate. She's going to be 36 in 2020, so she's old enough.
Yeah, we'll do that. And each of those, over 40, primarily voted for the Republican candidate, while the younger people voted primarily for the Democrat. And in the generation before that, and in the generation before that, and in the it's an old thing dating back, I think, to the 20s, where, like, no, wait, it was the 60s, wasn't it? I forget.
It was even before that. You had the 50s, you had the beatniks and things. And basically, I mean, most of the older, I mean, of course, this is all straw statistics, which, the rule and all that.
I mean, hell, I wonder who the hell voted for fucking Lincoln. First Republican president. Who the fuck voted for him?
Different Republican thing.
Yeah. Because they were the only fucking purely anti-fucking slavery party there was.
Well, the Republicans and Democrats basically switched sides.
And they're going to do it again. Because as they're doing right now with fucking, the Republicans now saying, well, we should protect the speech that we wanted to censor just a generation ago.
Yeah, but will they actually do it, though, or is that just...
And now the Democrats are saying we should censor the speech that we protected just a generation ago.
I mean, that's the thing about the Republicans. I don't actually trust them to do it.
Trust neither of them to do it. They're all fucktards.
Well, I mean, I might trust the Democrats to censor.
No, you should always trust your government to try to censor you. That's one thing they like to do. They like to take away everything you can do, so that way you can have no fun and you live according to their rules, because they're part of polite society, and polite society is a sham. Because all it does is prohibit people from living lives.
Sorry, just pouring coffee. Yes, that is the motto of Swine Brothers. Polite society is a sham. I'm not even joking about that. That is pretty much the motto of the show.
I mean, fuck, we had a show, several shows named, the failures of polite society. But all it is just this shit show to say, look, I am holier than thou. I have the fucking moral high ground. But the moment you proclaim yourself to have the moral high ground, you got to sell out your own morality in order to keep it.
Yep, because the moral high ground is not a permanent thing. You might have it once, but
Well, the whole thing is the fact that in order to claim it, you cannot live by your own standards thereafter. Because your morals are a guideline. This is a general guideline for how you're going to live your life, how you define your morality. It's a generalized guideline. Yes. Okay, so thou shalt not kill, but even within then you find caveats that will let you kill, but you generally live out your life trying not to kill people. But,
yes,
there are conditions where you have to break it.
Yes, Jim. I live out my life trying not to kill people. It's harder than you think.
Yes, I know. God.
I'm sorry, I had to. You know that.
But, you claim moral high ground there, and all of a sudden you start genociding people, because that way if you genocide all the people that you want to kill, then you won't be able to kill anymore. But you just sold out your own morals to do it.
But you could always claim the moral high ground by twisting the morals to your new position.
Yeah. It's just fucking bullshit.
It's okay to kill these people because they're bad people.
God, it doesn't matter if it's fucking Hitler's concentration camp or fucking communist gulag. Fucking bullshit everywhere. Oh, God. Fucking how many times have communists just said, okay, we're going to take all the fucking resources from this land to give it to the motherland because they need it better, but then we're going to leave you starve because, we don't like you and you said something we don't like.
Nazis and commies.
God. Remember, being commie is just Nazi spelled backwards.
Something
like that. Just fuck it. Roll with it.
Keep going.
44% of millennials are racial minorities. Latinos, blacks, Asians, and other smaller groups.
And people, and Martians. It's racist against fucking Martians. They never get love.
3 out of 10 are first or second generation Americans. I don't know where you're getting these statistics.
Somewhere. I don't know.
Are 3 out of 10 are first?
At least fourth generation on one side, and I think like a lot more on the other.
Well, I know on my father's side, I got one that was Native American, so there was that. Another one came off the boat sometime in the 1800s from England on my father's side. My mother's side, it was all Slovenian.
Yes.
And just a dash of German thrown in there, because why the fuck not? They fucked.
To make the names more pronounceable.
Yes. And 1 out of 6 are multilingual.
I barely speak English here. I barely speak English. Although I do want to learn Swedish and the language Josephine knows, because it would be nice to know her language. I
used to be semi-fluent in Russian, but because I lacked the people to talk to, because it was a language no one else I knew spoke.
Yeah, it's sort of, you get rusty. Yeah,
I know the word "droog" means friend, or
I know. Stalin means man of steel. That's my fucking Russian. I know what vodka means.
Što eta means what is that, and eta stol means that's a stool or chair.
I knew a guy who was born in Russia. He didn't have an accent, but he moved here when he was like 6. So I asked him, "Well, do you know any Russian swear words?" And he goes, "Well, no, because my parents never swore at me." So they're like, "Clean up your room, you cunt." So he didn't know any Russian swear words, unfortunately.
Millennials are thus on the front lines of the nation's diversity shift.
I'm diverse. I'm German and Irish and something. English, I think, or Welsh, or God, I'm Welsh. No! Hang self.
between the baby boomers and Gen Xers, who are more white, and the post millennials, sometimes called Generation Z, who are less white. Does that even matter? I mean,
Zed.
my kids are fucking, half black, half white. That's just generalized. Then I just went through the specifics of like where my fucking shit came from.
Yes,
And their mother had like shit that was mostly Punjab, but then there was like some other shit mixed in there.
Meanwhile, I'm dating a woman from Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
But you're making such a big difference over less white that, like, who cares? People fuck. It's happened for generations.
Well, it's funny because this is the exact same language the alt-right say.
Yeah.
It's just that for them, it's, oh my God, they're becoming less white. Whereas here, oh, hooray, they're becoming less white.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I want to see white genocide. Not because I'm anti-white. I just, be entertaining and.
It'd be entertaining to watch a lot of people die. Yes, I know. I could care less. I was just fucking talking to fucking Jeannie Cabler from fucking Ye Goat Herd Gods, and
we gotta set up an interview with her.
Oh yeah, and like we were talking, and like she was like brought up something saying, about people are praying for fucking nuclear holocaust so it would make Trump look bad. And I was like, I pray for nuclear holocaust, but not to make him look bad, because I really don't care how he's perceived. I want my post-nuclear wonderland.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. I'm living in a spot that only has a 50% chance of being nuked, and it has a 50% chance of getting lethal fallout radiation, even if not. So that gives me, about a 25 bullshit percentage chance of surviving long enough to have fun with everything just collapsed.
As long as the nuclear war doesn't happen for about another 2 years when I leave for parts unknown, I have plans, man. Then I'm fine. If it happens in the 2 years, I'm fucked.
But you see, I was talking with Urge, like we were talking about, I mean, even before I got into metal, I was watching movies like War Games. Would you like to play a game? How about global thermonuclear warfare? And then it just tricked the computer into thinking we were being nuked. And NORAD went insane. It was great. And then like we had the original Red Dawn. It starts the troops coming in, but then you realize, oh wow, we didn't even know that half the country was nuked.
Oops.
After they talked to a soldier, I'm like, yeah, woohoo, that's great. And then there was like, I swear it had to be from the 70s. There was this old protest, like I forget the fucking name of it, but I remember like just the scene where this doctor had gotten so irradiated treating patients who were irradiated that he was going to die anyway. So he said, fuck it. And he went traveling, and like he was watching martial law, like being commenced, where like the troops just threw someone up against the wall and shot him because they did something, and it wasn't, I forget if it was something, it was definitely something minor, just to say this is the brutality of martial law. And he's going around looking at devastated and ravaged landscape.
Yeah, I used to love Nuclear. Threads was a great series, the British show Threads, which was about a nuclear bomb being dropped over, I think it was Sheffield, and then there was another one where they actually went a little further on to it's funny because you watch shows like movies like On the Beach, which has like the before Armageddon, everyone's all cuddling each other and crying and admitting things to each other. If you knew that the world was going to end, there would be cuddle. I mean, maybe there would be, but it would be complete pandemonium and lawlessness.
See, I gotta wonder if these guys actually lifted these statistics straight from the alt-right playbook. Because listen to this fucking sentence. By the year 2035, millennials elders will be 65% white, and those younger than them, who will make up nearly half of the population, will be 46% white. Is that not the same rhetoric we keep hearing whenever they cry, oh my God, white genocide?
Yeah.
We're having less white babies. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I don't even know where they're getting these statistics, but hey.
I don't know where they're getting the statistics, but goddamn, that's the same exact shit that the alt-right says right there. That
Yep.
entire sentence is a verbatim quote from their boo-hoo white genocide shit, but you're praising it. So why the fuck care? If you're trying to not be them, then why is this such an issue?
Because they're not trying to not be them. It's just the other side of the same coin.
Mm-hmm. Mirror it all. It's still a nickel. A nice shiny nickel. Whereas older whites express fears of what changing racial and ethnic demography means for the nation's future and possibly their own safety. Yay!
As
All
long
you're
as it's
doing
still
is
metal, I don't give a shit.
Millennials are known for their tolerance. No, they're not. They scream, accept me or else. That's not a... That is fucking demagoguery at its
I
worst.
love the term tolerance because the term... I've always said I hate the term tolerance because the term tolerance means... I mean, I tolerate things. I tolerate babies on an airline because if I kill them, then I'm a monster for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I tolerate Anarcha's voice because I can't kill him because he's in Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
it's not
yeah.
that I tolerate in racial inclusion. I just don't. I don't. It. Yeah.
I don't care. Associate how the fuck you want. And if you want to be a fucking bigoted asshole, fine. Be a bigoted asshole. Just not on my front lawn.
Yes, and don't suggest that because I like Nazi music that I don't understand
But
people's
whenever you
pain.
start screaming for inclusion and acceptance, that's whenever like you
That's
start
my
wanting to put that shit on my front lawn. Either side of this, because they're both just as intolerant as fuck.
that's my favorite when people are like, you like this music because you don't understand like the shit people of color have to go through. I'm like, if you knew half the stories of the woman I date from Africa, you'd say, wow, we have it easy.
Yeah, you would.
We have it completely easy, and you would shut up. Unfortunately, they don't want to listen because
I mean, one of those blacks, one of the more sane ones that was saying that he went conservative, said the thing that really pushed him over the line was like during Obama that like so many black businesses had to close shop because of taxes getting too high and they couldn't afford. They pretty much paid their entire fucking profit margin in fucking taxes just so they can maintain employees, and they had to close shop over that. Because fancy that, whenever you ask for the state to pay for things, they gotta make money via taxes. And they were calling the tax policies oppressive and shit and bashing the black man down on the ground. But whenever you look at it, it's not even a fucking racial issue. That's what taxes do. They kick you in the balls.
well, I mean, it's either that or just have human slaves. But instead of being black, we'll just pick up some random fucking people off the street and put them to work as human slaves. Anyone caught out like just unlucky. This is why I can't be president, people. Or well, maybe I should be.
God was fired. Do 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 do. Nearly 1 in 7 millennial marriages is multiracial, compared to 1 in 20 among baby boomers when they were the same age.
Yeah, it's because we don't give a shit. I mean, well, at least I don't. I mean, I
don't give a shit.
I wasn't even looking for a fucking relationship or anything. She just came in and said hi and
okay, fucking my friends back today, a couple of them were fucking neo-Nazis. The thing that really got them to change their view was the fact that even though I debated them all the time throughout the 90s, the one thing that really flipped them over the edge was the fact that I still bought them beer after I started dating my ex-wife.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, this totally contradicts everything I know about Race Trader. But here, all you do is just jam the same damn shit they've been saying down their throats, but saying it's a good thing instead of bad. The same damn rhetoric over and over.
The good thing I have to say about the Nazis is I never heard any racist comments about my chosen partner. I mean, I've never heard any sort of, So that's, at least they know to keep their goddamn mouth shut.
Yeah, but that's because you're not sitting there berating them with it.
No, I mean, I sit there
And
and I
you're not
talk about.
claiming to be one of them. That was another thing. Because, like, this one guy that was like, oh, yeah, I'm all neo-Nazi. He started dating a Jew chick, and he started bashing them and shit. And it's like, so they just called him a fucking poser, sellout race traitor.
Yeah,
Because, he was with it until he met the right pussy. And then he just went completely, 180 and started bashing everything.
sorry, my dogs are barking. I mean, I make no secret of the fact that I'm not a Nazi, and that we could talk about music, but when it comes to politics, we're probably not going to agree on anything.
Oh, yeah. And I got into lots of good debates because I let them know flat out, I'm not into this. This isn't me. And whenever I started dating a black chick, I still bought the beer. It blew their fucking mind. And they're just like, it's Jim.
I want beer.
Yes, beer is good for the soul. In contrast to adults over 35, a majority of millennials believe that since the 1950s, American culture and way of life have mostly changed for the better.
I agree in that music's gotten more extreme, which is always good. And, the internet, despite its many flaws, is undoubtedly a good invention. And, that. Charlie, shut the fuck up. Sorry, dog's barking.
They're also more likely to believe that immigrants strengthen the country. Only if they get naturalized, and you don't want them naturalized. Ergo, it's going to make everything you thought was cool collapse, because what if these immigrants have something diametrically opposed to everything you believe in?
Here's something I don't get. And I'm not saying this to be contrarian or to stir up controversy. I genuinely don't get why me saying that immigrants should learn English is racist. Well, English isn't the official language. Yeah, but it's spoken by almost everyone. I mean, if I was going to France or any country, even for a week, I would learn some rudimentary words in their language.
I would learn enough to get a cheeseburger, a bed, and a hooker.
Well, I mean, I fine. But it's. I mean, yes, in France, a lot of people speak English, but some don't. In Sweden and in Denmark and whatever country you go into, in England, Australia, they don't speak fucking English in Australia, man, mate. No offense.
I'd go fucking somewhere, and I wouldn't care if they called me a fucking dumbass American, because I literally would be.
But I mean, I would try to learn at least enough, like in case I got lost or whatever. Oh, can you help me find it? So I don't understand why it's racist to say that if you come to America, you should learn a little bit of English. I mean, a general principle. If I was going to Mexico, I'd learn Spanish.
I mean, the U.S. has the lowest bar for naturalization ever. God, I've looked into other countries that are supposed to be all hyper-inclusive and shit, and, like, they actually do things like require you to learn their language.
Well, I mean,
which we
yes,
don't do here. And,
as you should. I mean,
and you should know a basic amount of, fucking their history, which you don't really have to do here. I mean, the bar is so low. Oh, and you actually have to be a benefit to society instead of a welfare leech. Huh. Wow.
Define a benefit to society.
I kill people.
Yeah.
You're in.
Welcome home, bloke. I eat people.
There we go. That's a benefit to society.
Yes, but but I've said it before, and so stop being racist. It's like, it's not being racist. It's just being common sense. I don't even think it's being liberal or conservative. I think it's just common sense.
They believe that America's best days lie ahead. Just wait till the resources run out, motherfucker. Just wait till then.
I think it's the best days of the 80s when you had, hardcore punk and thrash and death metal, but I mean, not that you still don't have them now, but I'm just saying they were a lot more vital back then.
And more fun because they didn't want to be part of society.
Well, more fun because it was harder to find, and
Yeah.
also because you know, back then, if you saw someone wearing even a mainstream metal, like not a glam shirt, but even if you saw someone wearing a Metallica shirt in '86, you knew you had some sort of connection with them. Because even though you might be in the underground, they may just know a couple, more of the mainstream thrash bands. They knew Metallica, which was more, which was still a fast band. Nowadays, you see fucking Iron Maiden shirts. Oh, hey, what's your favorite album? I don't know. I just like the logo.
Fucking morons, I know.
Or even worse, a Metallica shirt. Well, I like Inner Sand. Die.
Yeah, die. God, no. God.
Nothing else matters. Yeah, neither does your life, motherfucker.
And shit truly splatters. Dun, 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 dun.
Although I will say, Jim, if you turn that like way down and tune it really low, like speed it down, slow it down and tune it low, it makes a great fucking really depressive funeral doom song.
I think it's just depressing the fact that was the dubstep Metallica sunk to. The only thing more depressing was that was the album that helped get me into metal, and I can't stand it now.
You know what? Even more depressing, they got even lower with Load and Reload and the Saint
God,
Anger.
Load.
Death Magnetic was
First
okay.
fucking album I ever sold. I got it, and I was like, "This is Metallica. It's on my jacket. I have to like it. I have to like it." I listened to it 3 dozen times, and I was like, "No, goodbye."
How do you listen to something so long 3 dozen times? It's a long ass album.
I had to force myself to like it, and I just could not. Yep. I could not force myself to like it because it's painted on my jacket. I love them. No,
yep. That's
fucking
me and
sold
Megadeth.
Out. Fuck that shit.
That's me and Megadeth. I was a huge Megadeth fan up until I heard Risk, and I was just, oh, Dave.
I got out after Cryptic Writings. I was like, this is starting to puss out too much. I'd rather just end on a high note.
Cryptic actually had a couple of good songs.
Yeah, that's why I just said
that's Euthanasia and Cryptic
because I'd already heard Load. Okay, I knew Metallica sold out. I was like, this is starting to get the feel of Metallica, and I don't want to hear anything past this, so that way it just doesn't suck as bad.
Yeah, well, Metallica got even.
Then you shared a link to Risk in the chat, and I listened.
That was for Scott, actually.
Oh my God, no! Why did you do this to me? And you're like, Jim, that wasn't intended for you. It's like, I know, but you left it there, and I had to see. Why did you do this to me? No, Jim, no.
Oddly enough, Metallica got worse after Load. They did a collaboration with Lou Reed. 90 minutes of noise.
And not the good kind of noise.
No, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Lou Reed. Sorry, my dogs are fucking annoying. I'm not a huge fan of Lou Reed or whatever, but he was, let's put it this way: if you liked him in his prime, you're not going to like Metallica's collaboration with Lou Reed.
It's not just millennials of color who support a more diverse America, as well as the politicians who promote it. Millennial whites, far more than older whites, also espouse favorable views of immigration and the nation's future.
I mean, I think we should just open it up and just fucking let chaos reign. But, that's not a sensible economic decision, but I'm not a fucking politician, am I?
Nah.
I like chaos.
I like just running across the street and murdering people wantonly because murder is legal, but, they won't legalize murder.
Why not?
Because they're fucking bastards. And that's what I call bright future. If people were actually legalizing murder, talking about it, it would be great.
Yes.
If millennials are to succeed economically, do you even know anything about economics? I take that as a no. Anyway,
well, I know about economics. I'm not sure anyone else does. I mean, they had to take a class in economics, but most of the people fell asleep through it.
Yeah.
I was the only one who actually half-heartedly listened,
Mm.
and even I'm not that good at economics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know how to like keep budgets and shit, but like, and not like, don't spend all your money on weed and hookers, and you won't go broke. But you know,
Yeah, but who wants to listen to that? It's better to spend your money on weed and hookers than die soon after.
it says someone who doesn't smoke weed anymore.
And to lay the social groundwork for the highly diverse generations that follow, we urgently need to invest in a variety of education and safety net programs, which proves right in one sentence that you know nothing about economics
Why don't
because
we invest in racetracks? More of them.
where are you going to get the money for these programs? It's not like
Taxes.
resources. You see, money is used as a measure to get limited resources because let's face it, scarcity exists. And you're wording this as if scarcity does not exist and that money can just fall out of your ass. And that, like, a ham sandwich just appears anytime you look for it.
Oh,
Are
I
you
wish
that
that
much of
was
a
so
rich,
true.
spoiled brat?
God, I wish that was true right now. I am
Oh,
starving as
God.
fuck.
I mean, I went up and bought myself a nice iced tea because I was too lazy to make it. Now, I'm fine with paying money for that. I'm not going to sit there and demand it should be free.
Well, I mean, I'll pay money for it, but damn it, where's my ham sandwich?
Yeah, I know. I wish I had magical ham sandwiches just appear anytime I wanted it. Sadly, I got to go make money and get the ham sandwich with money I made while working. And usually I buy the raw materials so that I have, like, the chipped ham. Yeah,
Making me
very
hungry
thin.
again.
It's so thinly sliced that you just grab a wad of it and you just
God
fucking hook that shit up with the right
damn it.
seasoning and fucking sauces. And it just permeates right through it because it's so thinly sliced. I mean, I'm explaining in PA, all I gotta say is chipped ham. I don't know outside it, not everyone knows what chipped ham is and what the benefits of it are.
I know what chipped ham is, and you're making me hungry. Stop it.
No. All millennials as a whole have achieved higher levels of post-secondary and college educations than their elders,
Hey,
majoring in what?
I didn't
Did
graduate
you
high school.
major in anything useful?
I mean, granted, I could have graduated high school, but we had problems.
Did you major in anything useful, like, engineering?
I
Or did you
majored
go the
in.
easy route and, oh God, I know a guy. Okay, back when I was in college, there was a guy I knew. He was from the Hispanic side of Philly. Okay. So, yeah, he knew Spanish. He was fluent in it. Guess what he majored in college?
Spanish.
Yeah, because that was the easy A for him, and he just wanted the
Yeah.
fucking degree under his belt so that way he could get a management position at some place.
I spent 3 years at the university of damaging the fuck out of my liver.
Oh, God, after I dropped out of college, I went back to school for various criminal activities. Which after I graduated, I was offered a job and realized if I took said job, there's no turning back, and I would definitely go to jail at some point. There
Yeah.
was no, I might be able to skirt past it. No, it was going to be definite from that point on. I was like, nah. And that's why I'm working flipping burgers or making tacos at a gas station.
Burgers. Tacos.
Because I fucked my life up. I'm paying for it. I don't care. I did it. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fucking fun. But dear God, I'm paying for it 20 years after.
Yes, and have probably fucked up beyond any sort of savior. So,
You actually stopped long before I did. I didn't stop till I was almost 30.
well, it's not that I stopped like because I wanted to. It's sort of forced upon me. I mean, had I kept going, and I could restart any time. Had I kept going, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But I've still probably fucked my life up. And hey, no regrets.
No regrets. Did it. Gonna pay for it. Oh well.
You only live
Okay.
twice.
Or 600 million, or W Blue Sky Lives times.
Oh God.
Black and Latino millennials have fared decidedly worse than their white peers on those measures. And some of them just really don't want to go to college because it's easier to make money doing something else. Either as a mechanic, as a fucking burger flipper that works their way up to management, or as a fucking drug lord. And trust me, drug lord is nice pay. Even if you're just flipping to support your own fix like I did, I still got some really nice shit. You should have seen the fucking stereo system and TV I had out of that shit, man. That was just me flipping for my own fucking buzz.
The only problem with drug lord is it is a fairly high level of risk attached to it. So
oh yeah, because you gotta fucking play the game with the cops as well as the game with the fucking junkies.
Yeah,
and the game with the junkies is worse than the game with the cops because all you gotta do is say yes sir, no sir, anything you say sir. And they'll usually just break your bowl and let you go on your way. You fucking get the junkies involved, they'll fucking kill you in your sleep for fucking one quick fix.
Especially dust heads.
Mm-hmm.
Puke was a dust dealer. That was scary because at night they turned into fucking Night of the Living Dead.
Oh god, I fucking.
It was fucking. You fucking what?
Fucking hated the fucking heroin junkies. God, I hate them so much.
I mean, the difference between heroin junkies and dust heads were dust heads at least for fun at night.
Yeah.
But they were still zombified. Oh.
Yeah.
Whereas heroin addicts, yeah.
They'll just fucking kill you for their buzz.
Yes. Whereas dust heads, they'll try to kill you, but they're too brain. Like, I had one literally try to kill Puke, but he. What was I doing again?
You were trying to stab me and I broke your arm. Oh, I forgot I had an arm. Is that why it's bending backwards? Yes.
Okay. Well, it's funny because he used to party with dust, people who took his shit, and he used to pocket joints, whatever they're passed around, and these people were so out of it. Didn't we just light up another one? Why is it gone?
I remember, like, we would sit outside Jeff's back porch, and he'd light up a bowl, and we'd be in the middle of smoking it, and someone would just fill it up again, and he'd pull out another bong. And at the end of the night, like, he would, there'd be like 8 of us outside. We'd take a hit off something, hold it and pass it to the next guy. And as we're passing it to one guy, we'd have to be reaching over to grab another one as we exhaled and took another hit just because it kept going. And sometimes there'd be like 3 bowls in someone's hand and they'd be like too confused, which, especially whenever we started passing one way and one the other way.
Oh.
So like you get confused, which goes I'm so stoned to the point of retardation.
I miss those days.
As well as on home ownership and income. Yeah, you actually own a home. You rich fucking elitist bastard. I'm white and I don't even own a home.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I do not own a home. Well, actually, that's not true. I do own a home. It's a 26-foot travel trailer.
Yeah.
And we bought it used, so not even a new. And it's over 10 years old.
Often the consequence of under-resourced schools and community services. It can't be the consequence of not having employment.
Well, that is true that schools are painfully under-resourced, as I know because I was there.
Yeah, I know. They've always been under-resourced.
Well, the thing is, and then they throw out 10-year-old textbooks of like history books, and okay, they were, from the era of like Clinton or whatever, but most of this shit is unchanged. I mean, why don't you use those?
Yeah, really. But
And they.
But the political slant was not to my liking. It has to be even more yuppie-ish. You
I
fucking
can.
yuppies.
I told you the story. I don't know if I ever told you the story about the time where uh, they were lecturing about something, and I happened to know about it, and I stood up and for 25 minutes lectured the history teacher on what they missed, what they got wrong, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the half of the period was me talking, and the teacher didn't stop me because she was just like, "Yeah, he's on a roll. I'm not gonna."
Yeah.
It,
I'll
it
correct him when it comes up, and right now he's not saying anything to be corrected. I did that in my American political behavior class once.
yeah. Well,
And the fun part was my APB teacher had to look up the answer, and from that day on,
yeah,
I was permitted to sleep in his class.
yeah. She
Cause,
actually had to look up.
and the other thing was, I found out years later that, after that incident where he had to look up the answer and I was correct, he had gone to talk to my learning disability English teacher who was feeding me fucking college prep work, and I was only in the class because I was in a loony bin beforehand. you know, because the school thinks that you go to the loony bin, you're automatically retarded.
Or if you're blind, you're automatically retarded.
Mm-hmm. But whatever. And after he talked with her, because she told me, he talked with me about it, and I told him, yeah, you essentially took his class 3 times before you actually get credit for it. So, because he was letting him know that part of my class, I had to do all my classwork in that class. I couldn't take anything home for homework because the books had to stay there. Because that's how the fucking LD class worked.
Yep.
I also had to do the advanced college prep fucking vocabulary list, which had 2 lists, one for the people who read at a 6th grade level, one for the people who read at a 9th grade level. She had to create a 3rd list just for me. Then, and on top of all that, I also had to help the other students in that class with classes I didn't even take yet.
Nice. That could have been me if I ever applied myself, but
the whole thing was I had a dream of going to college at the time, and they were treating me like, Bleh. Meanwhile, I was like fucking smarter than some of the teachers there,
yep.
and the teachers knew it too. But it was the fucking administration that hated me, and they're like, "Why the fuck are you giving him such a hard time? Because he's an at-risk student." Yeah, you're the ones making me an at-risk student, trying to kick me out.
The sad thing is, and this is quite depressing, just whatever I would have done in school, if I would have graduated 2 years early, or whether I would have whatever, I had 2 plans in life: music and a show. College was never even an option, and here I am.
The current administration is doing the opposite of what's necessary, says you.
What, pissing in people's beds isn't necessary?
I mean, God, I'd mandate pissing in people's beds.
Just not in my bed.
And homeless people shitting on politicians. That's what's necessary. Fueled by an older political base that does not view diverse millennial families as their children and grandchildren, who says they don't. I mean, okay, my grandmother, whenever I first started dating my ex-wife, and while I was married to her and bringing the grandkids up, she never once thought of her great-grandchildren as anything other than her great-grandchildren. She loved them and cared for them.
See, I can't.
Her political views were very different from that of my ex-wife's. And yes, she came from another generation, but she never...
Yeah, see, I can't speak for that because my extended family thinks I'm a race traitor, so there you go.
Yeah. But,
Not that I care.
You're making assumptions here that you can't really back up. Because you'll get the extreme you're going through, and you'll get the other extreme that I went through. where, yeah, she didn't like my ex-wife, but that wasn't based on race. That was based on the game she was playing with me.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's sort of a nice extreme. I'm like, so half of my family thinks I'm a race traitor, half of the family thinks I sacrifice babies to Satan. Does that mean if I go up next time, forced to go up, no one will talk to me? Oh, thank you, goat.
Yes, goat, thank you. Trump and the Republican-controlled Congress, who are amazingly more Democrat than Republican, and the Democrats are more Republican than Democrat, tried to gut the Affordable Care Act and passed a
Which
tax
was,
law
I
that
mean,
will dramatically increase the federal debt.
which is the Affordable Care Act was actually a Republican. Obama basically said, "Okay, give me a health bill, give me a a health care bill, and I'll sign it." He didn't actually have any sort of you know
Yeah, he didn't care. He just wanted that as part of his legacy because I gave health care to everyone. Oh my God, I fucked up health care for everyone. But it's still my legacy. Don't take it away.
yay.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, it's sad, really, because, even though I don't know exactly how much of a role fucking moron played in things, but we now have fucking, the Korean War is finally ended.
He played no role. I think it's funny that he
But
actually there
he's
was
going to get fucking credit for it because it happened under his presidency, and we're still involved with South Korea.
the Korean War could have ended in 2001, but George Bush fucked that up by his axis of evil. Iran, Iraq, North Korea formed an axis of evil, and
Yeah,
North Koreans slammed the door in South Korea's face because they were legitimately afraid that President Bush was going to fucking bomb them.
yeah,
And so, yeah, thank you, George Bush.
yeah. You fucked everything up. Good job.
That I really am afraid of North Korea. I mean, let's face it, they launched nukes, and what's going to happen? They fucking fall apart over North Korea.
Yeah. That's great fucking engineering.
I mean, it's North Korea.
Paving the way for cuts in domestic programs that would aid young families. But what's to stop them from aiding themselves by getting a job or starting their own business?
Well, okay, I live in California.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You live in California.
Yes, but a lot of people live in California. Not everyone can move out of California. If they did, the rest of the country would be fucking overcrowded because California is a ginormously popular state. Some people have to live in this shithole. And I mean, yeah, okay, I get a job in small business, and then I get another job, and then another job, and then I'm working 25 hours a day. And which is, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'm just saying a little help wouldn't be bad.
You see, I say this, okay? I would rather debate the fucking welfare state because, yes, I'm against it because I went through the welfare system over here in PA, and dear God, is it fucked up? Okay, I mean, okay,
Well, that's the bureaucracy of the welfare state. That's not the state. I mean, that's not.
yeah, but you're gonna have bureaucracy because it's government run.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I'm
but
more.
I would rather debate that than fucking someone that says we need socialism. No, we need the government out of our business as much as possible
I'm
because
more for it
does
because
the government know how to properly masturbate?
does anyone know how to properly masturbate?
That's the point. It's gonna be different for everyone. Some just need a light touch. Others need fucking. Oh my God!
Torture porn.
You should see some of the shit that this one girl I almost fucked but didn't, but I'm somehow still friends with. Some of the toys she has to take just to get off. It's like there's no way I could please you. There is
Yeah.
no
Well.
fucking possible way a horse. We could get a horse to fuck you, and you still wouldn't feel anything.
Yes. And mine are a little bit esoteric.
And her toys have like fucking things that make metalhead spikes and punk spikes from like the 80s, those big metal things, look like child's play. And that's on her sex toy.
Yes.
And she needs that to get off.
Drinking 3 cups of coffee does have a drawback. I need to piss really quick. I will still be listening. I'm not going anywhere because.
Go piss.
But keep reading.
Damage will continue unless and until the demographic clout of millennials and their successors is more fully realized. As in what? People crying, whining, and complaining constantly about everything in the past being, a product of the past, because it can't be a product of the future, which it must be because it was in the past. I don't understand why the hell people do that. Clout potentially delayed at the ballot box by racially targeted voter suppression and gerrymandering. Prove it. Prove the racially targeted voter suppression, because I mean, gerrymandering, yeah, whatever, but political leaders need to view millennials and their children, both native and foreign-born, as the core of America's future labor force. Okay, then why are you viewing them as things that need to sponge off the government instead of being part of the labor force? Sweet nuclear heaven, please nuke us all. That would cause a great glut in the labor force and everyone would be happy. Assuming, for those that survive, those that are dead, they can't be anything, should be vaporized. And prepare them for a more globalized economy. So how much did you want to bitch at me about?
Nothing really.
You're buzzing.
I know, I can't help buzzing.
There we go, that got better.
There's really nothing I can do.
Well, you had to situate yourself. You probably just rushed in, grabbed the mic, and got grounded weird.
I don't know. I think it's the extension cord, but without it, I would have to sit way over there. And I'm not moving. So if it buzzes, bear with us, people. I can't hear it, and I don't know what to do about it other than kill you.
Yeah, kill people. At the same time, they should make the case to their too often fearful political base that they have a codependent relationship with this racially diverse America. You make racial diversity sound like a bad relationship. Why did you do that? And that's something that's yet another thing I've seen in alt-right publications. God.
Yep.
While millennials will benefit from government investments in their well-being today, their public brainwashing and indoctrination, you want them to, you saw that a benefit.
Well, yes, if I'm doing the indoctrinating.
Well, only if I am, yeah.
No.
Then I'll teach you that defecating on your neighbor's lawn is a good thing.
I believe I said me, not you. Civil War time.
That's it, yep. Time to break out the religion. We're going to war. Prophet versus God. I will win. But you are also me, and I don't. God, that was great.
It was. Yeah.
Older Americans will benefit from their contributions to Social Security and Medicare for decades to come. Assuming that they'll actually enter the workforce instead of be a burden like you're suggesting. Oh, God, if you want benefits from the government when you're older, we're going to have to cut the ones from welfare of the younger generation. If you want welfare for the younger generation, we're going to have to cut the Social Security and Medicare for the older. because you just said yourself we're going into a deficit, and no matter what, we're going to continue down that deficit line, and we're going
Well,
to
yeah. I mean,
default, and everything is going to be horrible shit. And once we default, guess what happens to both sides of that?
yeah.
Bye-bye.
I just love that the people are freaking out about a deficit, and every country in human history has had them, including ours.
Yeah, but then we had Greece, which defaulted, and everything went to shit.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Perhaps the most important attribute of millennials as a bridge to America's diverse future is their relentless optimism.
Oh yeah, there's
Relentless
nothing like my
optimism.
relentless optimism. That's me.
Relentless optimism. How many people cried at the outcome of the fucking last presidential election? How many people flipped?
I
How
saw
many people are
something.
still flipping out, screaming bloody murder over it?
I saw
That's not
something
optimism. That's
in
fucking shattered dream.
November 2017. They were going to have a basically a yell of despair, where people, with the anniversary of Trump's victory, people were going to yell into the sky in despair.
That's pathetic.
Whereas, and yes, optimism. That's me, Elliot. Actually, it's funny because I've wondered for years why people come to me with fucking love advice. I've just realized I'm the most sensitive person of my generation, in that I'm actually realistic and
I'll tell you that shit's fucked up. Go run.
actually offer real advice rather than, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the most.
You're wondering if you should conform to this person's wishes or still do your own thing? Run. Do your own thing and forget the person.
Yes. Oh, she doesn't like anything you like, but yet you two get along really well. Well, fucking embrace it.
Yeah.
Because
And she controlling you? Oh, no? Then keep going. I mean, fuck, as long as you're able to do your own thing on your own time, then hell, even with her around, if you're still able to do your own thing on occasion, that's good, you know?
I mean,
That's better than other shit I've seen where it's like, you're not allowed to do anything unless I'm there. You can only do the things I approve of.
well, of course,
I've
it
been in those
helps.
relationships, and that sucks.
Well, I had a relationship like that, but the what made it work was that everything she approved of was things I liked. So, you know,
Yeah.
and only doing it when she's around became sort of a given because she was part seeing eye dog, part babysitter, part don't fucking die on me.
A 2017 Gen Ford survey found that Latino, Asian, and Black millennials are more likely than whites to say that they'll do better financially than their parents.
I don't know if I'll
Because
do
they're
better
going to get
financially.
jobs.
I don't know if I'll do better financially than my parents, but I'll actually make something of myself, and because I'm actually following my dream rather than going to fucking work in an insurance company.
Oh, God, I'm working a job and still trying to do my own dreams. I'm still working
Yeah.
in the fucking Fright Night Theater.
It's just they give up. They gave up.
I mean, I keep trying. It's not working, but I'll keep trying until something pans out. And if nothing pans out, at least I'll go down kicking, you know? Fuck it. What else can you do?
I'll keep trying. I'm not going to give up. I mean, I I have no other choice but to keep trying. Because if I don't keep trying, then won't enjoy life.
By example, and as advocates, millennials of all racial backgrounds will undoubtedly continue to make the case that investing in a more inclusive, so you want to include the Nazis.
Yes.
You legitimately want to include the Nazis in your group because that's what being more inclusive would be. You have to let the Nazis in. If you're not going to be that inclusive, then you're going to be exclusive.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Younger America is essential to the nation's economic success and can only help today's older populations. No, it won't. You're gonna fucking ditch them at the fucking old folks' home just as quickly as possible and let them rot. Because the moment they can't give you any more money, you're gonna declare them dead and just leave them for dead.
Which is fun to do, by the way.
Older Americans should listen and help make the country whole. Why? I
Why?
gotta. Okay, you're from this generation. How could I make this country whole?
Set it on fire.
There, I'm going to listen to that millennial's advice and set the country on fire because I actually agree with that. Fuck, I am listening to that advice. Just set it all on fire. It'll be great. I love that advice.
I said in the most deadpan way possible too.
I know.
The most deadpan series. Set it on fire.
All right. So, you think you're going to bridge the gap, huh? Well, how about the generation gap is back, but not as we know it.
Oh my god.
There is an ideological conflict brewing between woke millennials and an older generation. A conflict where neither understands the other.
Stop. Did they say woke?
Yeah, but they had it in quotes. But yeah, they still said woke. Is minus 20 points. You know, if they say red pilled, it's done.
Only minus 20 points. Wow, you're generous today.
Yeah, I know. But I'm reading the article, so.
He's turning over a new leaf, guys.
Yeah, that's me being optimistic. Only negative 20. We're at the start. You started off at 0 with 0 expectations and went to negative 20 instantly in your title.
Sweet.
That's me being, optimistic. Let's see how far down the rabbit hole this goes.
Let's go, shall we?
For a while there, in the first part of the new millennium, the generation gap was pretty much assumed to be dead. Really.
I don't know. I dated women 20 years older.
What? I'm trying to grasp that.
Don't.
Because, for the first part of the new millennium, no, it wasn't. It was just getting worse and worse like it did the generation before and the generation before. And,
don't try to think.
And only started to leave up whenever people started actually entering the workforce and working the same dead-end jobs their parents did.
Yeah.
People in their 40s shopped in the same clothing stores as people in their 20s. So you weren't around to see the retro styles come back during my generation and the generation before that.
I saw them come back, and I was like,
the generation before that.
This is retarded.
And listen to the same sort of music.
That is actually true, as in I listen to music that fucking my friend who's like
my mother
60.
Was surprised I was listening to the Doors because she's like, oh, I listened to them when I was a kid.
I legitimately had someone message me with, I hear you posting Angel Witch. How the fuck does a 24-year-old know what Angel Witch is? I listened to them when I was like 14 in 1980. I was like, yeah, okay.
We have an internet thing, and occasionally one thing leads to another, and oh my god, I found something interesting from ages yore.
Well, it's not the internet. He didn't know that I was a fucking metal historian.
Oh, that too.
So we bonded over the fact that fucking he was 52 years old or whatever. He's 10 years older than you, and yeah, we're friends because I listen to the same music he is listening to. When he was a kid, he still listens to now, of course, because metal never dies. But I'm just saying.
And hell, I still listen to the Doors and fucking some of that.
I'm not a fan of the Doors, but I can deal with them. They're not really.
I mean, I also listen to Led Zeppelin and fucking, of course, Sabbath, but
I can never get into Zeppelin.
It all depends upon the songs for me. I mean, I never cared for Stairway to Heaven, but I loved Kashmir.
One thing that I've actually gotten into is 70s prog rock, but not the mainstream stuff like Yes or any of that bullshit. I'm talking about the really weird manic depressive shit like Vandergraaf Generator and shit like that. The out there kind.
I mean, hell, thanks to my buddy John, I got into fucking Frank Zappa.
He's an interesting person, Frank Zappa. I respect the hell out of him.
Oh
Music's a
god.
little bit too out there for me, but I respect the hell
I
out of him.
love the fact that it's out there because it
Yeah,
also makes you think at times because it's like oh fucking you gotta listen to the entirety of Joe's
yeah,
Garage just to like get
yep.
the entire story being said. It's like, oh my god, this is fucking wild, man, but it's so true.
I've also been getting into Irish folk music because it's good. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I've never been one to listen to whatever my generation listens to. A, because it's shit. B, because Irish folk music is fucking awesome.
You go from Catholic girls to she's a cruise slut, baby.
Well, I mean, like not so much the I'm in love with an Irish, but I spend all me money and drinking all the time and fucking and that sort of.
Mhm.
Actually, one
If
of the things I've gotten into, I'm not a big fan of Deep Purple, but Richie Blackmore has a medieval folk band called Blackmore's Night. And the funny thing is, I actually really like it. It's like medieval folk music. It's so beyond anything that I like would actually listen to, but it's actually really good.
if you were on the left, you all cheered for Obama, and everyone from those in university dorms to the corner office had the Shepherd Ferry posters of hope.
What are
And
you
all
talking? I'm on the left, and I flat out told my teacher who's voting for Obama, and she only said she was voting for Obama because he was better than McCain, who I thought was actually a decent Republican. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, but I'd take McCain over like Trump. I even said, "Look, Obama's a fucking scam artist. It's gonna be business as usual."
mm-hmm.
But I
What
was
was
not a
it?
fan of
He was a
Obama.
scam artist and business as usual, just like every president before.
Yeah, I was not an Obama supporter.
Yeah. And all ages were engaged in common political struggles. No invasion of Iraq, no blood for oil. Really? You're new to the whole entire fucking, war protest thing?
I mean, the only thing I wanted to see, and it's sadly he died before, was Wesley Willis. What would his reaction be if Obama was elected? Black men in the White House.
I gotta piss real quick. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
So that's that would be the only thing I would like to see. Unfortunately, he died. So my only actual sort of um, bright spot didn't actually happen, and he turned out to be business as usual, which I predicted, and turns out the jaded cynic was right as usual. I was right about everything right up until Trump was elected. I predicted everything that happened in the U.S. presidential. I thought Hillary would win, but I predicted everything. I predicted that Bernie was not going to do it. They were going to stop him from doing it, getting in. I predict, I basically, and everyone called me, oh, he's cynic. If fucking, where's your ideals? And it turns out I was right about everything in the 2016 election, right up until the actual election, because I thought Clinton was going to win.
Yeah.
Everything else I got spot on. It's just the right. It's
Well,
funny because
I thought Clinton was going to win, but that's because I'm so used to seeing political corruption that I knew it was going to be rigged, and I've seen it get rigged. I mean, fucking, we had machines here where people were complaining, "Oh my god, it said I voted for Clinton and I didn't." I was like, "Yeah, I knew that was going to happen."
I knew someone who, until she deleted me, 2 years almost, 2018, was still saying that Bernie won the presidential election. It's like, yeah, okay, you may have wanted him to win, but he did. Get over it. And finally, she deleted me because I called her on it. And just get over yourself.
You know, and like I said, that's the entire reason I thought Clinton was going to win it because I'm too used to that kind of shitty politics, and I'm actually surprised that even here, fucking God, we're the kings of confirmed fucking voter fraud over the past 20 years here in Pennsylvania. I mean, we have the most confirmed moments in the nation where, like, long, it's like, God, really?
Yep.
And, like, somehow Trump still flipped this state, even knowing that this state is rigged. I don't know how the fuck that happened. There were enough pissed off people, apparently.
Yep. Although I would have liked if they were to vote for the the evil midnight bomber with bombs at midnight. Unfortunately, they didn't.
I wish they would have all voted for me.
I voted for you.
I know. I had like a dozen votes. It was great.
I love it because I've actually tagged you in things where it's like I voted for James Thompson. They're like, wait, what? Did you actually vote for that guy? Yeah.
Exactly. You'd go to a block party concert and there'd be a finance dude there in his 40s wearing the same Urban Outfitters jeans as the kid in their 20s.
Oh God! I'm my
You just
stomach
made
is.
me. Yeah, I felt the vomit start to trickle in. I was like, "No, you're just reading an article."
Oh God! Uh I quit. I quit. I'm done.
And at dinner parties, people in their 30s were taking MDMA, and everyone from the 19-year-olds through high 37-year-olds leaving dinner parties would end up at the same late night bars.
I have never taken MDMA, and I hate late night bars because they play fucking shitty music, and then they
Uh-huh.
throw me out because I played Archgoat.
Yeah, really. Fuck these people. They don't know what good music is. They need to die.
You can't dance to it. Oh yeah.
These are just more people that needed euthanized. Everyone described in that paragraph needs euthanized. I mean, especially just wearing Urban Outfitters jeans. That alone. Anyone that wears those needs to be
Anyone
euthanized.
can afford those. I mean, my sister used to go to Urban Outfitters. I remember that and how expensive it was.
And that's exactly why they need euthanized. They're fucking yuppies. All yuppies must be euthanized.
Yes, unfortunately, I came from that family. I am ashamed.
Yes, but if you euthanize them, then that family will no longer exist.
Plus, I can get some motherfucking peace and quiet.
Uh-huh. According to an article on the merging of generations in the 2006 New York Magazine, this, of course, is a seismic shift in the intergenerational relationships.
Well, I mean,
It,
I've always dated older women, but that was mainly because younger women were fucking shallow. It wasn't until literally this current girlfriend that I'm dating someone my own age.
and she had to come from another country which happens to be war torn. Very good.
The joke is because she was born in April 26th and I'm May 27th. The joke is I'm still dating older.
Yeah. It means that there is no fundamental generation gap anymore. Fuck you. This is unprecedented in human history. No, it's not. Just wait. They're just growing up later because of helicopter parenting and all that other bullshit where you got to worry about the kids' safety instead of, letting kids be kids. They're growing
Yes.
up later. That's all it is. They just haven't left the home yet.
Well, I've left home, but that's because fucking rent's too expensive.
I had to return, but that's because my marriage left me broke.
Mm.
And it's kind of weird. For the younger generation, how to rebel with your parents constantly over your shoulders well into your 30s and 40s.
I never even thought about rebelling. I mean, when I was a kid, I did, but finally, I realized that who I was naturally was just a natural opposite of everything that modern society believed in. It's funny because people think I'm trying to rebel by being me and liking what I like, but it's my natural thing. It just happens to be completely opposed to what society does.
Uh,
It's I couldn't be more natural if I fucking tried.
Fucking shit. I remember that, like, I had kids fucking say Like my old attic party, they just started to raise toasts to me because one kid's like, dude, whenever I was in high school, you were my hero because everyone else is trying to be different, and here you were just naturally different. Well, yeah, and that's why I went to a loony bin because I was naturally different. And they wanted to change that. And
Yep.
then whenever I told them that my dad was reading a book called Mother Was Best, which is all about family incest, yeah,
Family incest.
that's whenever they finally released me because they finally accepted that Freud might have been wrong in this instance. His father really is scum, which I still laugh at because it took me stating his porn preferences, which should be, nothing. But like the entire family saying he's abusive, he's scum. Everyone, oh, they're just giving into my delusion. My father's the saint because, Oedipus complex and all that
Yes,
shit.
but Freud was a moron.
Yeah. But he
I
did love
have
his
to.
cocaine.
I have to unplug and plug in really quick. I'm still going to be listening, but I won't be able to talk. So,
How to mark yourself as different. Oh, well, that's simple enough. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everyone is getting pissed off at you. So that's a definite sign that you are marking yourself as different. Did age even mean anything anyway? That's right. Have sex with toddlers. It's okay because age means nothing. What fuckers. And I've seen articles which actually tried to argue for that from the fucking left. Because, it's just another sexual preference. Goddamn fuckers. In 2018, and it's 2018, and if you were a 5-year-old in 2006 being rocked to sleep by your hipster dad, oh God, singing you Arctic Monkeys, I don't even know what the fuck that is, but the fact you're saying hipster with it already makes me hate it. Then you'd be 17 now, the same age as the Parkland kids. Oh, yay. Who many are characterizing as a new generation. Yeah. This label has been applied to the Parkland kids by outlets including the New Yorker, the New Republic, Christian Science Monitor, and Salon. Everyone that wants to, use kids as political sloganeering tools like every generation before. Because that's the hip, cool thing to do is kiss babies. Those who are a couple years older are entering workplaces and colleges.
Arctic Monkeys. I remember when they first came out. I didn't even like them then. I was 12 and had shit musical taste. Even then, I didn't like them.
Good.
Gross.
Exactly. Those who are a couple of years older are entering workplaces and colleges. And you know what? There's a generation gap. Just not in the way we imagined it.
Good.
Good. Let's bring about war. It's not about style. It's not about taste in music. It's about language and battles over inclusivity.
Oh, God.
Diversity and power structures. Fuck you. Because I don't want you to include me. Reject me. And you trying to include me means you're a fucking pussy. I have to earn your respect. That's the way it works. And if you just give it to me, then I'm going to fucking abuse that shit and jack you out of everything you ever owned and ever could have want to own. I'll be a billionaire and you'll be homeless like I once was. And I will laugh as you're sucking the dicks of dead dogs to survive. Are you still there?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah.
And it's a whole lot more complicated and confusing than the generation gaps of yore, is it though? Where the olds were horrified at the Beatles and their long hair. Yay. boots on the ground, what does this new generational conflict look like? Inside the newsroom at the New York Times, there is an ideological conflict brewing between the old guard and the new woke employees. An article published last week in Vanity Fair titled "Journalism is Not About Creating Safe Spaces Inside the Woke Civil War" at the New York Times illustrates the tension. The younger generation were appalled at the 2016 election results. I know lots from the younger generation that were not that appalled by it. Many were just shrugging, saying, God.
Yes.
Just shrugging their shoulders, saying, business as usual. We got another rich white guy in. The only difference is, instead of being funded by the corporations, he is the corporation.
That's what I said. And it's funny, people call him an outsider.
Yeah, and that's the younger generation even trying to suck his cock. The generation they're talking about. But this is just one side of the coin. We're only going to look at the left, and you're starting to realize that the left of your generation is so far off the rails to the left that, they make Marx look like a Nazi.
Oh yeah, I realized that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whenever you make Karl Marx look like a Nazi, you got problems because you're just so far off the board. Remember when we were playing Democracy 3 and we found out that Kenya hated freedom? It's like whenever we were controlling them, they loved us. We even took away their fucking right to free thought. You couldn't have a free thought. We took that away. They loved it. But then the moment we gave them 1 ounce of freedom, we were shot in the head.
Yay. Maybe it's because all we did was make women the cabinet.
Yeah, maybe.
For no reason other than
fuck it. We didn't care. We were just flushing the nation down the toilet anyway. What did it matter?
Yay.
And have expressed grievance at the Times for hiring their opinion pages one writer who has expressed skepticism about climate science and a millennial who supports campus free speech. Oh my God, we got to fire this person who supports free speech inside a newsroom, which relies on the ability to have free speech. This is how retarded your generation is, at least on the left. How does it feel, you being someone on the left there?
Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to switch sides or anything.
I know. I'm just saying, how does it feel to see them go this far off the rails?
Nah, it's just sort of indifferent, actually, to be honest. Because
I've numbed you to it. I've shown you how moronic they are.
Well,
I knew you got to bump into a lot of morons too, but these are the mainstream morons.
Well, yeah, but I always knew the mainstream were morons, so it was never a big deal for me. I just didn't realize that it got so bad. But yeah, now it's been 3 years since I've realized that, so it's sort of more just what are you gonna do? Kill them.
Yeah, kill them all for Satan.
Yes.
Other grievances within the newsroom that Vanity Fair reports as being split along generational lines include reaction to a reporter being allowed to return to work in a demoted capacity after being accused of sexual harassment. Accused, not convicted, just accused.
Yeah.
And the managing editor appearing at the same FT conference as Steve Bannon.
Oh no!
Wow, you're appearing at the same conference as a political opponent?
That's
Oh my
that
god.
reminds me of someone was trying to blackmail. I think it was Jello Biafra because well, I have proof that you went to the same film festival as Anton LaVey. Okay,
Yay. Who cares?
yeah,
You know. According to the Vanity Fair piece, as at many newsrooms and media offices and in the culture at large, this is a moment of generational conflict not seen since the 1960s. No, we've seen it in every
what
generation.
about the cops in the '80s who were busting up punk shows and fucking killing the kids because they listened to music that they didn't understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a generational. I mean, just because it didn't get the headlines because the hippies were on fucking major labels and the punks were on independent labels. Oh, it doesn't count then.
Yes.
Fucking the hippies were. I mean, if people talk about their cultural suppression, they were on fucking big corporate labels.
Yeah.
I mean,
And because the corporations couldn't milk money out of the indies at the time, it was like, oh my god.
well, you could make milk corporation at the Indies as long as they were safe. You'll notice that Husker Du signed to fucking uh, Warner Brothers when they went poppy. They didn't sign when they were hardcore. They signed when they went more indie rock and poppy. Fucking, Slayer was one of the rare exceptions that they actually signed and got heavier.
In Australia, this conflict includes debates around who gets to tell what stories. For example, whether a fiction author has the right to depict an experience that is not her own. So, a white Australian woman writing the experiences of a queer Indigenous man. Really?
I
I can't report on somebody else's life as I've seen it, or as I've recorded it from their own mouth because they didn't write it down in a giant memoir.
I don't see. I know people who whenever they discover a band, they have to do searches to discover if they're Nazis or not.
Yes, they're always Nazis. Get over it. I mean, they're definitely to the right of Karl Marx. So, even the calling bands are to the right of Karl Marx somehow.
There's a guy who's 14 who's a Metal Archives reviewer, and he says he has a list of bands he will not listen to if they have any right wing views, which includes Megadeth. He's also a musician, and he's released some very bad albums. He has the most nerdy name of all is Ezra Blumenfeld. That name just screams, "Please hit me."
It screams you're going to get raped in prison.
What's your name? Ezra Blumenfeld.
Yes, that's when Bubba's just going to bend you over the fucking bunk and fucking jam it up your ass, the barbed wire coated fucking dildo. Right in the middle of fucking prison while the guard looks the other way laughing to themselves.
Isn't it funny though how sometimes names can sort of, I guess, describe the person? Like Ezra Blumenfeld describes that person.
Yes, they're destined to be anally raped in prison.
Yes.
This issue came to a head at the 2016 Brisbane Writers' Festival, where the novelist Lionel Shriver gave the keynote address and argued that novelists should be free to write from the point of view of characters from other cultural backgrounds. And the audience was a writer and engineer, Yasmin Abdel Magid, I butchered that, who found the speech offensive and walked out because they are a pussy.
Good walkout.
I mean, if I am going to write from the point of view of an elder god, which has a completely alien mindset to our own, then do I have to be an elder god with a completely alien mindset to our own to write about it?
Even better, I write in the point of view of a sane person.
Good one.
I once wrote No, seriously, I once wrote a short story about basically me cranked up to 11, but I wasn't the main character. I mean, it was a different name, but it was basically a heartless sociopath. But the main character was actually a sane person trying to make sense of the heartless sociopath.
And all they could do was cry and wet themselves.
Yeah, basically, just what the fuck am I saying?
Yeah. She later wrote for The Guardian on the experience. It's not always okay if a white guy writes a story of a Nigerian woman because the actual Nigerian woman can't get published or reviewed to begin with.
Are you sure? I mean,
Or did they try?
it's easy to self-publish if you can't get published.
Yeah. Especially these days. Dear God, is it ever fucking easy? There's even places that let you self-publish for total free. You don't even have to fucking pay anything unless you want a hard copy of the book.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, yeah, but I'm stuck at dick biting vampire here. Hang on a second.
Taken by a T-Rex. Ravished by the raptor.
Ravished by a velociraptor. It was a baby too.
Mm-hmm.
So
with such high quality shit being published, are you telling me that they can't be published?
I mean,
you know, this person just wrote it to fuck around and shit, and now
if you can't be published by a major company, and a lot of major companies don't publish things for whatever stupid reason, crowdfund it, self-publish it.
Hell, and like I said, there's places that'll do it for free. And, you know, granted, you know, you got to pay for it if you want a hard copy. But do you need a hard copy in today's digital world where everyone just downloads?
I mean, it's nice to have a hard. It's nice to have a hard copy, but okay.
Oh, I love having a hard copy, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna get it out there, you know,
you have to pay for it a little bit. But the publisher, unless it's one of those vanity publishing things, which makes you pay for everything, the publisher will help pay for it because they think it, you know, they hope that it'll actually sell, whereas a vanity publisher will actually have you pay for everything, you know, printing and things like that.
Well, you see your online publications, which do mostly the fucking digital downloads of books and shit, you know, they'll just have your name pop up in search engines with something that's related to like one of the keywords you attach to your book.
It may cost you about
and you don't have to pay for a fucking thing in half of them, and the other half, you know, the ones that will really promote you on fucking web searches and shit, you know, that you got to pay like maybe $100.
Yeah, I mean, but it's worth it.
I mean, you get more promotion the more you pay in, but you know.
But even still, I mean, vanity published books can cost upwards of 50, 60,000. Even self-publishing books don't run you that far. They don't. It's not actually that expensive to self-publish.
No, it's not. Like I said, there's even places that'll let you do it for free. Yeah. Hell, just enter in National Novel Writing Month in November and you get one free hard copy of whatever the hell you write. And guess what? You can cheat.
I mean,
you can write the book all year long and then just say you wrote it that month and then get this copy.
Granted, most of them are utter shite, but hey.
Yeah. It's not always okay if a straight white woman writes the story of a queer indigenous man, because when was the last time you heard a queer indigenous man tell his own story?
Well, why doesn't he get out there? I mean, I've heard
about 2 years ago, actually, I heard a queer indigenous man tell his own story, and dear God, was it fucked up. But, you know, that's because, you know, I hang with crowds that were rough and tumble, and he did too. And he was like, yeah, this is what the fuck I did. I'm like, oh, God, that's really fucked up. And they didn't know you actually enjoyed the anal rape? No, they didn't.
Okay.
That was the secret to getting more. That way they felt they were dominant. You just go through, like, oh my God, really? So this is the queerest handbook to go into prison. Lovely. Just title it, Drop the Soap.
Well, I mean, in a way, I get what she's saying in that a lot of
Yeah.
times, if you say write about, like, you might misrepresent it or whatever. But I think people should have the right to write about whatever. If they want to write about a queer indigenous man, they're a straight white woman and they know what they're talking about.
Or hell, even if they don't, it doesn't matter if they know what the fuck they're talking about. The question is, will it sell?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I've seen, oh god, fucking, that eel James bullshit come up. She doesn't even know what the fuck she's talking about when it comes to BDSM. No idea. But people gobbled onto it and it sold, and she's on all these fucking talk shows and shit. And her husband's got a fucking run interference, so she only hears positive feedback
Yeah,
because
so people are
people from
leaving.
the actual BDSM websites and shit are saying you're full of shit.
Yep.
And she can't hear that.
Well, people are leaving fetish websites because people they're basically getting a bunch of new people who are like, yeah, I've read 50 Shades of.
Yeah. How is it that said straight white woman will profit from an experience that is not hers? How
Oh
is it
well,
that fucking
okay,
I
wait,
will
wait, wait, wait,
profit from
stop,
writing
stop,
from the elder god?
stop. So so J.K. Rowling should be fucking all her money should be taken away because she wasn't Harry Potter.
Hell, she
She did
wasn't
not
even
live.
male.
She did not live through Harry Potter world. Fuck it, take all
She
her money away.
she is not a young male boy coming of age. So we got to take all her money away.
Fucking Jack Chalker, who wrote the Soul Rider series, he wasn't in that weird planet 2,600 years later.
Yeah.
Lovecraft, he never met an elder god. At least well, actually, I don't know about that one.
I mean, maybe, just maybe, fucking the guy that wrote Dune was a fucking Tylaxian fucking face dancer from the future that somehow traveled into the past due to spice mutation or
I don't
something.
know about that, but I know he's an utter cock.
Or was he's dead? So
Yes, which Frank Herbert does not like rock bands. He especially does not like heavy rock bands, and especially not Iron Maiden.
yeah, fuck off.
I,
Dead.
whereas contrast that to The Prisoner, where they wanted to use a title or a sound clip. Who's this? I'm calling about using it in a band. What band? It's a heavy metal band. Do it. Hangs up. Literally, that was the thing. What band? It's a heavy metal band. Cool. Bye.
Mhm. Or it shows up in a reconsideration of the work of Chris Liley, once a Gen X icon for Summer Heights High and We Can Be Heroes. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
I don't, and neither do I care.
And I'm Gen X, sort of, so what?
Yeah, but fuck, I don't know what the fuck millennials watch. Avengers movies, apparently.
I don't even know if they watched X. They're too busy bitching about it.
There's a new Avengers. Well, yeah, I saw that. There's a new Avengers movie coming out, and everyone's talking about it.
And they're talking about it, but I don't even know. It hasn't even come out yet, and they're bitching about it.
Yeah, it has. It came out
It came
Friday.
out? Oh, okay.
Yes, Scotty saw it.
Oh, okay. He must have got his old account back, which blocked me. I don't know why. Anyway.
No, he hasn't blocked you. He's just unfriended you
No, okay.
because he got pissed off. But he's basically said
So
everything's
I was
cool now.
telling him that I was doing a lot of cool things sober, and if
Well,
I was on drugs, I'd just be sitting there laughing at the stereo, and he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
yeah, but we talked about it both on and off, and he said everything's pretty much cool. So
Yeah. Anyway. But now being chastised and on the nose for depictions of characters such as Jonah from Tonga. I don't know what the fuck that
that's
is.
well, apparently it was someone in the book.
Man. The show did not go down too well with critics in the US and UK, with the Huffington Post describing Liley as a 39-year-old white guy in a primmed wig and brown face. Yes, brown face in 2014.
which is a little bit outmoded. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, but I don't care. I don't care if you go fucking full blackface.
No, I don't care, but I'll at least
I
point
know
out.
black people who do blackface just to piss off other black people because they're fucking trolls in real life. It was glorious to watch. It's like, oh,
Yes.
beat down that white guy, and they fucking start wiping him off the face, see who it is. It was another black guy. Like, oh fuck!
And then my friend Tamara.
All they did with their fucking broken nose was laugh at him because they were just trying to piss him off.
And then my friend Tamara, who's black, dressed in full KKK outfit, went trick or treating. She didn't even trick or fucking treat. She just knocked on people's houses. What the fuck? What the fuck are you supposed to be?
Oh, yes.
These are the people I hang out with. She's the one I told you about. I told you who creates troll Stormfront accounts just to find new RAC and NSPM.
Yet, when Summer Heights High first aired in 2007, the brown face went largely unremarked upon. This week's It's The Simpsons that has come under fire for its flip response to anger over the depiction of the long-running Indian character of Pooh.
The funny thing about Apu is, I've been to 7-Eleven and I know people who were basically the spitting image of him.
Yes.
What kind of cigarettes do you want?
I mean, I go to one now, and he's like fucking really cool. Like fucking Ed, he loves the lottery. He loves it whenever he sees lottery winners come back. Because I think he wishes he could gamble on the job, but he owns the place and doesn't want to have a poor work ethic.
No, I knew one. I knew one.
So like whenever he sees winners come back, he's like, "Yes, more lottery, please."
I knew one who liked a bit of metal, and he wanted to. He actually took me aside. I said, "You have a metal shirt on. I would like to get more into metal." And I was like, so I would basically bring him CDs of death and black metal, and he'd fucking give me free shit. And he was really cool, and he's still into metal to this day.
There was that one fucking Indian guy at college that was like, we got him high. And he was like, I'm really fucked up right now. I have another joint. No, wait. Yeah, could I have another joint? And could you pass me another beer, please? I would really like another beer.
And he looks so stereotypical.
It's like, okay, here. I don't care. This is great.
He looks so stereotypical, and yet last time I met him at fucking a Deicide show, like moshing out to Discord and Broken Hope with his fucking, Indian looks, and he's fucking awesome. And now he likes death and black metal.
Part of this gap between young and old is the rise and mainstreaming of identity politics. Like the neo-Nazis back in my day have been doing the identity politics thing far longer.
I want a nuclear war, because maybe then when the world's in chaos, all your bullshit identity politics, what am I saying? Of course you'll still believe in them.
You'll try to, but then you'll be consumed by the people who identify as cannibals.
I mean, that's what Eric Keller from Fear of God said. He said basically when you look at it, all the fucking identity politics goes to pieces in a crisis.
Mm-hmm. Because really, who's helped not who here? It's a human helping out another human. Because, oh my God, we got to escape this. Oh my God, there's people under that rubble. Let's get them out. And they don't care.
But then the people under the rubble turn out to be zombies.
And it's like that one article we read a while ago where it was like this chick got like fucking stranded because she had a flat tire and shit. And it was like this inbred redneck that like helped her out, Definite Trump supporter, and I was afraid he was going to fucking shun me, but he just didn't care because he understood what it's like to be stranded somewhere.
My puke fucking, he was basically a cross between Gigi Allen and death metal, so he looked horrible, and he got a fucking, and this redneck fucking, saved him, and he was like, when he first came up, I thought he was going to shoot me, but he was like, "Are you lost? You need some help?"
The
And
intersectional theory, around since the late 80s and 90s, and used to describe interlocking structural systems of power, was coined in 1989 by the academic Kimberly Crenshaw. It is used to describe, in Crenshaw's words, the multiple avenues through which racial and gender oppression were experienced.
why don't we all just? I mean, why don't we all just band together and search for sanity as a people?
Because they don't want to, which is where we come in wishing the human race to go extinct. Because then we'll all be equally dead. And you can't get
Yes,
more equal than dead.
this is true.
So, how a black motel cleaner might experience workplace discrimination is different from how a white upper class lawyer might experience it. It's also different how a white hotel cleaner might experience workplace discrimination versus a black upper class lawyer.
Yeah.
Because, money talks, and like you're working a dead end, go nowhere job
So people are
versus
going to treat
someone
you
that
like shit.
has like a good job that pays very well.
Yes.
Because other forces of oppression are also at work, other than gender discrimination and original sin.
Yay, original sin. That's my favorite kind of sin.
Intersectionality was once a notion confined to the campus. Its concerns did not reach the editorial conference room of the newspaper. In the programming era of music or writers festival, or the writers of a room of a TV sitcom.
And you're going to base your entire thing on television sitcoms.
Uh-huh. But in recent years, it has jumped off the page and into real life discussion about Me Too and Black Lives Matter, for example. Hashtag No Lives Matter. We're
Yay.
all gonna die, and when you look at it, even the fucking biggest mover and shaker on this planet ain't moving and shaking the universe. So
And
fuck 'em.
yet we're in April 27, 18. I haven't heard anything about Me Too or BLM for months now.
Yay. That's because you've been sitting in the back,
Oh,
not
okay.
caring.
Okay.
I'm certain if you were actually paying attention, you'd see everything about it. But because
Yeah, well, I don't
most of
have
the
this.
people associated with that shit have blocked us because we raised one question one time, and that was enough to declare us Nazis.
Oddly enough, Mathis muted me. He didn't block me. I can still see his tweets.
Yeah. Back in 2006, when the generation gap was pronounced deceased by New York Magazine, I still think that's funny that they did that. Just like they claimed it was the death of the yuppie. No, these are yuppies right here. In today's age, they're still going strong.
Yeah.
But the yuppies are dead like years older. No, they're still here. You just wanted to feel good about being a yuppie, so you declared them dead. But you're still here. Words associated with this movement, such as no platforming, the use of a violence as a verb, and woke as an adjective, microaggression, and cisgendered heterosexual either did not exist or had not entered the mainstream.
And I'm going back in time to 2006.
So we could kill everyone that tried to start it?
Yeah.
The world would be saved then. We'd be in prison, but the world would be saved. I think that's a fair trade.
It's worth the jail time.
Mm-hmm. The woke generation. Young millennials between 18 and 30 who need to be genocided. They all need to be genocided. Brought the theories of intersectionality and identity into debates about a range of human rights issues. campus free speech, which they're exercising their right of free speech to protest against free speech.
Wow.
Trans rights, the Me Too movement, marriage equality, gun control. Really, gun control's been there for what? You're calling that new?
I mean, the thing about the Me Too movement was it started out as sort of a well-meaning thing. The only problem is no internet movement can survive being a well-meaning thing. It became. I felt weird after he ate me out, therefore it's rape.
Yeah. And also, I just like how they're trying to say gun control's a new issue. Oh, God.
No, yeah.
Fuck it. Give everyone nuclear weapons.
Yep.
And I'm not even saying that in a shit talking sense. Private ownership of nuclear weapons should be a thing because the reason you have firearms is not to go out hunting. It is to go shooting fucking government people on your lawn in the head.
Do they have to be government people?
Technically, no, but you know.
Do they have to be government people? I mean, come on.
But the entire reason behind the Second Amendment was so that we could rebel against the government should it turn into an oppressive force. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, granted, we had the Whiskey Rebellion here in PA, which was very short-lived because Washington was like, nope, sending the troops in. We're getting taxes off. You fuck off.
Yes.
And that set the precedent of like, okay, is this really worth shooting up people? But if there ever comes a situation where most of the people are out to fucking kill the government, trust me, the government will be killed.
Yes.
Reproductive rights, Black Lives Matter, and in Australia, the Change the Date movement, which I have no idea about.
Okay.
This new way of looking at the world has resulted in a golden age of protest, dissent, and pushing back against societal norms by reinforcing the ones stated by the hippies.
Yeah, when I push back against societal norms, I'm called at best weird and at worst edgy.
At worst, I'm called a fucking monster that should not breathe in this world.
No, that's at best.
Yeah, that is a good compliment. I still loved. I never felt more like an American than that time that guy said that we were everything that's wrong with the world. That
Yes,
made me
not
proud.
only did he not like the show, he thought it represented everything that was wrong with society as a whole.
That's when I became proud to be American. First time I felt that in years. Marches in the U.S., such as the Women's March and the one for gun control, which we continually have if you haven't paid attention to history at all. But no, all that matters is the here and now.
Well, there have been more protests recently than at least in the last 15, 20 years. I mean, every now and then you'd see like a big protest, you know, the IMF protests and the Iraq invasion protests, but this is sort of an unprecedented sort of March thing.
Well, no, that's because they're desperately trying to relive the 60s, and they're not figuring out that we already did this.
And most of the people from the 60s became burnouts or lawyers anyway.
Yuppies.
Yeah, I mean, most people from the 60s, unless they were fucking brain fried fucking freaks, they stubbed out their last joint, went to college, and became yuppies.
Yep.
And the freaks joined weird cults.
I love those weird cults.
Yes, thank you, Satan.
Have smashed attendance records while in Australia. The Invasion Day March surpassed all expectations of crowd size. Yeah. Like that's never happened before. The landscape has shifted dramatically in the past few years, and older people on the left and right have found that they have been tripped up and called out by their more woke colleagues or friends or Twitter followers. We're basing it all off Twitter now.
I refuse.
150 characters or less.
It's 280 now. I refuse to support anyone who says woke.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah.
The Wall Street Journal, in a piece this week, somewhat gleefully predicted it would be those who policed wokeness who would destroy the left.
I'm building up into a homicidal rage here.
Left-leaning Gen Xers thought by listening to Rihanna, Rihanna. I wanted to read that as something that was semi-pleasant, but no, I could not.
Don't even try.
Skateboarding to work and going to Coachella.
Fuck Coachella. I live in the fucking same state that Coachella is fucking at. It's a desert thing that costs like hundreds of dollars at least, with fucking the most pretentious indie rock bands and a bunch of yuppies who think they're fucking so underground in the desert for 3 days. Fucking, I'm glad they're in the desert. Someone give me a tank.
Yes.
No witnesses.
Shit. Kill all those fucking yuppies that go to Coachella.
There's a song by Anti-Cimex called War Machine. War Machine. Every time I hear it, I just imagine driving a tank into a crowd at Coachella.
That they could defeat the generation gap. I never thought I could. Just to show you how woke I am, I knew it would continue because it's one of those repeating themes. The younger generation always fucks up everything for the older generation because they have the new ideas, even though their new ideas are actually older than the older generation.
Hell, I mean, most of
and
my
that's
friends.
why the fucking older generation protested against them because they realized it was fucked up. And then
most of my friends are 10 years or more older.
Yay. That's because you stopped caring about people your own age.
I mean, except for Josephine. And it took fucking her to actually, hey, not all millennials are. She's actually smart as hell.
Yeah. And she had to come from a war-torn hellhole, but, you know.
Well, it's actually not much of a hellhole compared to... It's actually probably better than here.
Oh, it might be. I don't know.
Shit. It's funny because, really quick, she lives in Jordan because she's doing some shit.
Oh, okay.
And, well, she lives in Jordan for 2 more years. And she was talking about, I went to Popeyes last night and KFC. I was like, what the fuck? They have Popeyes and KFC in Jordan?
Well, that's Jordan.
Welcome to America.
Now they are grappling with the idea that they may be causing offense.
Well, I mean, she's from Kenya but lives in Jordan right now. But yeah, causing offense.
The people I hung out with in my generation were proud to offend.
Yes, but
you're with the yuppies, so now you're afraid you might be causing offense? Well, fuck yuppies. You all need to be euthanized.
Puke used to trip people who skateboarded to work because most of them did it very badly. And he used to fucking make sure they fell.
Through a tweeted microaggression, a term that needs to be executed. And from our collective consciousness.
The best part is he would actually be singing that song while he would actually be going trip. Oh, he was on drugs.
Or an offensive Halloween costume, or sombrero worn at a tequila party, or positive comment about Bill Leak's legacy or personality on Twitter after he died.
I want an offensive Halloween costume. I'm Hitler.
The response, at least online, is punitive if offense is caused. Really?
What the fuck can they do to me?
they'll excise you and exclude you from the group, which you don't want to be part of.
Good.
So you're
I didn't want to
actually
be part of this
getting
fucking group.
happier
I was
by
added to the group
excluding
against my
me.
will.
You're trying to add me just because, yay, people. Then you realize, oh my god, he's a monster. Yeah, I'd rather be a fucking monster than a fucking drone. You fucking sack of yuppie filth. You need euthanized.
Yes.
According to the piece in the New Yorker on the new campus politics, it's flummoxed many people who had always thought of themselves as devout liberals. Wasn't free self-expression the whole point of social progressivism? No, it wasn't. Thank you for playing.
Yes.
There is a generation gap. It's just unlike any other we have seen before, but yet we have seen it before. God.
Yay.
It's just new to you.
Good.
There we go. Generation X prepared us for life, okay? Did we now? Did my generation actually prepare you for life?
What prepared me for life was 80s death metal. You were about 10.
Yeah. Good shit. Where is Generation Z's new wave? Oh, God, no. No.
New wave was the 70s pop punk.
Yeah. Fuck you. I already want you dead.
At least they haven't
Please
said woke
euthanize
yet.
yourself. I love music documentaries like Woodstock, The Decline of Western Civilization, VH1's Behind the Music, which right there states that you are a yuppie that needs to be euthanized.
Granted, The Decline of Western Civilization was a fantastic documentary, and the Megadeth version of Behind the Music was quite interesting.
Yes. But you know they're trying to do this because the title was New Wave, and now they're going into this. No. The other night, I caught Showtime's 2017 New Wave, Dare to be Different by Being the Same.
By being a mainstream version of punk.
Yeah.
By being the 70s pop punk.
Which is proof positive you're a yuppie that needs to self-euthanize. About the now defunct WLIR New York radio station. WLIR played alternative music, yuppie, that no one else in the U.S. was playing. From 1982 to 1987, they played songs recorded mostly by bands in the UK, but other bands as well as from Europe and the US. WLIR debuted singles long before other American stations would introduce them. Yay.
Great. Give me some fucking bands, you moron. Don't just tell me about the fucking document. Just, you know what I mean? Give me some fucking bands.
Like Depeche Mode,
Yay.
The Cure,
Yay.
Echo,
Yay.
and the utterly unknown at the time, U2, which made me want to vomit. It has made me want to vomit since I first heard it, even
it's
before
not alternative radio. Alternative radio in 1982 is, okay, we're going to play you this demo. It's by a band, an unknown band called Metallica. It's called No Life Till Leather. Oh, we're going to play you an EP by a band called Urban Waste.
Yeah. The movie took me down memory lane in my yuppie years, and how much music defined me, especially new wave. Yuppie.
Yeah. Why, is this written by my fucking mother?
It gave many teenagers and young adults the identity they searched for and craved.
Because you didn't look hard enough for your music.
Yeah, you just let it be spoon-fed to you.
Oh, look, you're listening to something slightly more obscure than Madonna. Ooh, wow. Am I supposed to clap for you? Here.
And shortly after I was introduced to Megadeth Sweating Bullets, I was hanging out in fucking the local fire hall listening to death metal bands that no longer exist. I think maybe two still do, but most of them went the way of the dodo, but they did some pretty cool shit.
Well, I don't know. Pittsburgh actually had a pretty cool metal scene. Apparently, Killjoy from Necrophagia was big in the Pittsburgh scene because he was from Wellsville, Ohio, which I hear is sort of near there.
Sort of. It's a bit of a trek, but yeah.
Yeah, I doubt there's a Wellsville metal scene.
The Showtime documentary described WLIR as providing lifestyle music for yuppies.
Fucking, I mean, even I mean, it's people will say, well, it was, you know, in 1982. That's about like, well, no, in 82, even the hardcore kids were making fun of new wave kids. Skinny tie bands is what they called them.
Look,
You know,
Elizabeth Look Buyer, let me tell you one thing. You are a rich, elitist fucking snob that deserves self-euthanization. Look at that. Christian, mom, wife, beachgoer, champagne drinker, chocolate lover. That right there says yuppie.
Yeah, that makes sense now that you're new wave, you know, new wave to her must have been fucking cutting edge music. Whereas even in 82, like I said, I mean, people who were in the hardcore metal scene, fucking skinny tie bands. Jello Biafra made a joke song about them in 1980 called Pull My Strings.
Yep. New wave music was a lifestyle genre for yuppies.
Like pop punk was.
Not only in the New York area, but all across America.
Fucking in the New York area, you had crazy motherfuckers in the Cro-Mags and, you know, Urban Waste and Agnostic Front, you know, people living in squads with like pit bulls so that the rats wouldn't eat them and like gangs. Fucking New York was an amazing place in the 1980s, from what I hear. If I could go back in time, I would live in New York in the 70s and 80s. Open air drug markets. And the cops, I mean, they would occasionally bust people, but it was more a case of, no.
We want no part of this because we do not wish to get shot just for a drug bust. We're going to let you do drugs.
Yeah. Especially in places like the fucking, like I said, the open air drug markets.
It was more than just music and fashion trends.
No, it wasn't.
It gave us a category of belonging and a foundation to our existence that was unique then and is not replicated in today's teen generation. Really?
Pop punk.
No, it is totally replicated in today's generation.
Metalcore.
Brain dead fucking shit.
Metalcore. You take a music and you soften it up, make it just odd enough that it's not completely like in the utter mainstream, like maybe it has a scream in it or two, and then sell it back to the kids. You know.
Today's Generation Z, or iGen, born between 1995 and 2012, did not have
6-year-olds. We're fucking putting 6-year-olds in this.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Do not have that same sense of belonging or exploring the world to see who they are. That I can agree with. Because you got to have these fucking helicopter parents because the government will take away your kids if you leave your kid unattended for 33 seconds.
Oh, fuck it. I mean, I had something like that and I still found myself because I was a crafty bastard.
Yeah.
We need more people like me. Oh, God.
Yes, I agree. Destroy the world.
Bang,
I've
bang.
been praying for fucking World War III since I was knee high.
Why do you want to set the world?
I want the fucking nuclear holocaust, motherfuckers.
Why do you want to set the world on fire, Elliot? Because it's not on fire yet.
Yes. I like things that burn, and I do not like things that don't burn. Due to technology, Spotify, Snapchat, YouTube, BuzzFeed, Instagram, kids today are spoon-fed music, culture, and political opinions. It's that last one, you should be spoon feeding them a wider variety of than the one-way train you keep feeding them.
I mean,
They're
fuck it.
just going to
Okay,
turn out to
so
be Nazis at this generation.
even before I was fucking like new people, I would go on to Eric Keller's Good Bad Music blog, and I would download whatever he posted, and I would soak up what he wrote because I didn't have any other like musical connects. Like I didn't have any money to go to the store. Because of that, I know a lot of bands from obscure demos and EPs before I ever like. I had no idea who the fuck Overkill were. I didn't know they were actually a huge band. For all I knew, they were an obscure band, released one EP. I knew who Morbid Angel were, but I only had one single by them. But because of that, like people, what was your first experience? Demo. Oh bullshit, hipster.
Yeah, but whenever you got nowhere else to look.
Well, and because of that, I often prefer the demo versions to the album versions. I'm not trying to be a hipster. Those are the versions I grew up on, you know. And you hear the album version, it's like, it doesn't hit me as much as the.
No, it's like every time I fucking bitch out kids for saying, "Oh my god, the new cut of fucking Megadeth is," God, no.
I thought it
No,
was.
the originals are far superior because there's a lot more nuance and fucking
Oh, the
intricacy
the, the
worked in,
remastering. I
which
thought you
they
meant the new
drowned out
album.
with their remastered versions because they got to make it fucking pop rock fucking digestible instead of causing the war in the brain, which gets the thoughts going.
Yes, he's doing it again with "Killing Is My Business." By the way,
Fuck him. Fuck him in the ass, the fucking concrete dildo.
he's a Christian too, so he should fucking fuck Elizabeth.
Yeah, he should have died years ago.
Yes, he should have. John from Dissection killed himself when he thought that he had done everything in life and released 3 amazing albums. Davey?
Mm-hmm. There is not the same exploration of music, thought, or trends that previous generations have experienced.
Oh no, I don't.
I have listened to Call Me Rock. I have listened to RAC. That shit that's Nazi, 100%. So I've had both those full extremes. I've had lots of other shit, liberal.
Yes, but we're talking about my generation, not yours.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this person is talking new wave, which didn't really explore any.
It was pop music.
They didn't explore any actual diversity of thought. Whereas I listen to metal, which is nothing but the war of words.
Oh, and me, I of course I don't explore any music. I have 5 songs on this library here.
We have Silent Scream, Crucify, Bastard Sons,
Well,
Beaten and Torn, Sanctify, Life's Little Scorns. Dun, 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 dun,
I'm listening to a band called Power from Hell at the moment. The song is 666 Ways to Blasphemy.
And then we had, If There's a New Way, I'll Be the First in Line. It better work this time.
But as far as exploring music, I not to brag, but I think I'm unmatched, or at least very.
Yes, but you had the previous generations to go on, and it's awesome.
Because
I can actually, whenever we get into differences, I can actually fucking debate your ass, and you're at least well informed enough about your own shit to do it better than people who claim to be well informed, but then once you show them what the deep end is, they're like, oh my god.
Well, it's funny because people are like, were you there? It's like, I never claimed I was there. I just sort of study people who were. I mean, Eric Keller was a mentor, even though he didn't know it and actually found me quite annoying, which I was. I mean, I'm not blaming him for holding that view. I was an annoying little shit back then.
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame him for disliking me, but he helped me a lot.
There is not the same, As a matter of fact, kids just aren't growing up today. Well, yeah, they're not because you're coddling them.
Yes, let them go out and explore. Give them Mantas and Death demos and tell them, fucking listen to that shit.
According to Jean or Jean Twinge, childhood starts earlier with puberty these days, but yet stretches well into high school. I'd say it stretches well into their 30s.
My childhood ended abruptly.
Across a range of behaviors: drinking, dating, spending time unsupervised. 18-year-olds now act more like 15-year-olds used to, and
Yes, they
15-year-olds
do.
more like 13-year-olds. Yeah.
Why do you think I was attracted to a woman like 17 years older than me at age 20?
The Generation Z of today has been overparented, under-challenged in chores, under-challenged in everything, every single department.
See, I was challenged in chores, Jim. Would you like to
Okay.
know how I was challenged in chores? I had to find creative ways to not do them.
Yes.
I had to find creative ways to not do chores.
Now then, oh God, do you know what quarter till 3 means
Uh,
when we're talking about time?
yes,
What does it?
2:45.
There we go. You realize that I talked to someone that's only a year and a half younger than you, and he does not know what that means. And you're blind. You can't even see the clock to fucking divide it, and you knew what it was the moment
Yes,
I
hello.
said it.
Excuse me. This is the police. We'd like to. We don't mean to interrupt here, but the user of this microphone just jumped out of the window to his death. We want to know why he did that.
Yeah, because someone just a year younger than you can't comprehend what quarter till 3 means.
He got so depressed. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Uh, Generation Z of today has been, oh, yeah. Furthermore, they don't seem to rebel like past teen generations.
I mean, my rebellion ended when I discovered that my natural thought process went totally alien to society. So okay, be
Look
myself.
to look to Rebel Without a Cause and the influence of the then newly created rock and roll with Elvis and the Beatles and the 60s hippies.
And Coven, 13 cultists.
I love how they have to look at this through pop culture and they can't just look at
Yeah,
things from like, okay, this is how people are acting. You have
because
to
if
do it
it's
through
not pop culture, it doesn't exist.
you have to do it through the lens of a TV show or
Yeah,
fucking
that's how the world thinks today.
I mean, yeah, I know I did a lot of my thought exploration with metal, but I did that because I
There
was
are
listening to different ideas and seeing what the hell their thing was. And occasionally, whenever something sparked my interest enough, I'd go out and actually research it because it's based off something.
I know family members who grew up in the 1960s and 70s who have zero memory of the Vietnam War. Okay, they have no memory of the Vietnam War, but I'll start humming a really obscure TV commercial. I remember that. How do you know about that? I remember that. That was in the 1970s, and it's because when they were kids, Eisenhower's parents turned off the TV when the news came on. People get their way through life through the TV and the music now. I mean, it's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
that's why they have to make pop culture references because it plays such a large part in some people's lives. I can't really judge because if you knew how much time I listen, yeah, you know how much music I listen to every day. So
Yeah, but you also have these experiences, which we talk about all the time about hanging out
yes,
with the
but
puke gang.
most people don't have these experiences, unfortunately. So
And that's very unfortunate they didn't get to do the shit I did with fucking Jeff and Bob and those guys just were, oh God, there was one time where like we were all tripping and both me and Bob called shotgun and I got in the shotgun, passenger seat of the car, and Bob opened the door and started yanking my hair saying, no, I called it first. And I started slamming his arm in the door. Okay, just to get him to let go of my fucking hair. Because my hair's down to my ass at this point, He's got a lot of huge handful. We're all tripping. And like Jeff was like, no, fuck it. You're both going in the back seat. John's going up front. And like,
Oh,
they were expecting me to, whenever I got out of the car, to just fucking level Bob, and all I did was laugh because I sat there and said, dude, I just sat there and thought about what if there was someone on the street walking by and they saw this, and this is what they saw. That would have looked so fucking funny that we're trying to kill each other over a shotgun.
and your friend had to play babysitter.
Yeah.
I love that. Your friend had to basically, no, you're bad. Bad. You don't get a reward.
Both of you in the back seat. We're letting the other guy sit up front. The guy that didn't call it and didn't fight over it, it's like, yeah.
Well, that was always my strategy. Fucking let them fight. I'll pick up the spoils of victory once they both killed each other.
Exactly. And it's sad because that's what helicopter parenting prohibits.
Yes. Or let's make a homemade nail bomb. Oh my god, let's never do that again.
Exactly. You learn real quick what not to do because, oh my god, I fucked up this time. It's like whenever me and Jeff were fucking walking by like a little crab creek. We were putting M80s inside bottles, throwing them in the little crab creek to let them float down. They blew up, and it was fun. Well, one had a really short fuse, and I told him not to do it. And he's like, hold my jacket. Okay, fine, you go ahead and do it. So as he lit it, I held up the jacket over me. The glass shards hit the jacket, but the glass shards also ripped up his legs. Then he looked at me, seeing that I was the smart one to hide behind his leather jacket, and he started screaming, I'll fucking kill you, Jim. He whipped out his fucking butterfly knife, started chasing me down the street, trying to fucking kill me because I was intelligent enough to hide behind something that would at least provide me some cover from the shrapnel, because I knew that there'd be no way it would get away far enough for the glass shards to not hit us.
Yes, and that's what helicopter parenting prevents.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have any cool stories to tell your grandkid. What are you going to tell? I once made a Twitter post that got 40 likes.
Yeah, lame. Try sitting there and fucking walking down the street wearing a leather jacket that has a hole in the inside pocket big enough, and you're carrying about a dozen 40s of malt liquor inside leather jacket comfortably enough that it looks like that there's no bottles inside your leather jacket and
Yes.
they're not clanking. And it's the perfect place to hide the 40s whenever you notice a car coming down the street as you're passing a 40 between your friends, getting drunk as you're walking home with your haul.
Yes.
Or how about, your friend's handing you the bowl while he decides to skateboard for a little bit, and getting his bowl back and getting pissed off that you smoked half of it while he was skateboarding.
What else am I supposed to do?
Yeah, it was there.
Or how about I tell Puke was going out with a girl and we were friends. And so I would tell her really embarrassing stories I knew about Puke. And I knew they went out because every fucking day, why the fuck did you tell her about that shit, man? You're not supposed to fucking tell her about that shit.
Like,
I don't know. I need a point of
I was
conversation.
hanging out with Jeff one day, okay? And his girlfriend called and he had to go take a piss or something. So he handed the phone to me. So I'm shit talking him to his girlfriend. And he comes back, hears this, and he pulls out this crossbow. Now, he won this crossbow from the local fair with that little ring toss thing that you do to go over knives and other cutlery that was spinning around. And he got it around the crossbow bolt that went with the fucking thing. So, he won this thing. He's like sitting there laughing at her. And we had a audio tape of this because for some reason that day, I just decided to put in a blank tape in the tape recorder he had, and I hit record some point before this because that's what fucked up kids do.
Yes.
And I didn't know this would happen, but we had an audio tape of this for the longest time, where you hear me say, "She says that she won't talk to you anymore if you kill me." Oh, I'm not gonna kill you, Jim. I'm gonna maim you. No, 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 no! Pink! Ah, that fucking hurt! That fucking hurt! You shot me in the ass with a crossbow bolt! Ah!
I will pay if anyone can find that audio tape if it hasn't been destroyed. I will pay money for it.
Oh, I would love to post that online. That's like just, oh god. But this is the shit you learn when you're a kid. What not to do. These are horrible mistakes to make. And if you're not learning that when you're a kid, what happens whenever you're 25 and you make the same or similar horrible mistakes and you don't have parents to call an ambulance on you? You don't have parents to fucking pay your fucking fine. You don't have parents to do this shit for you.
Yes.
Now you're getting thrown out in the world, and now you're fucking suffering and going homeless because you didn't fuck up when you're a kid. You're fucking up now that you're an adult.
Keep waiting for 2 minutes. I have to piss again.
Mm-hmm. Gen Z do not feel compelled to get their driver's license. I didn't until I was 25. And that's whenever I had kids and responsibility. You know, that's why I got it, because I actually had responsibility. And I didn't have a bunch of druggies buying drugs off me that would sometimes trade me a ride for a fucking nickel bag. They are happy to have their parents drive them. Well, that's pathetic. I hated having my dad drive me places. God. Bride's a cool story because his car was so fucking broken down one day. I mean, this is for a while, man, that he had just go to complete shit like this. That, like, we got to a red light and, like, it constantly stalled the whole way there, but he got to a red light and it stalled at the red light and it turned green. And we had to push it up this steep ass hill across 4 lanes of traffic to get it somewhere where we could pull it over and I could just walk the rest of the way to my friend's house to smoke weed. That was high school. Beautiful. They do not frequent movie theaters, amusement parks, or other teenage hangouts like previous generations. You know, like the video game arcade. That was some fun shit. Oh, God, all the cool degenerates hung out there, man. I cannot. That was where you went whenever you were looking for someone that was 21 or older to buy you booze. And occasionally you'd meet people that also sold drugs there. So it was win-win. I mean, that's what you did when you were playing Mortal Kombat. Just, and fucking malls in general. Oh, God. Oh, man. It was always fun hooking up with the one. Once we found out the one fucking mall security cop was like a fucking huge stoner, fucking it all went downhill, man. Cause you know, we would start causing a ruckus, you know, up until we found that out. Once we found that out, we were like the most tame kids ever, cause like we wanted to hang out with the mall cop and get high. I think that was part of what spelled the end of our shoplifting days too, was the fact that we were now hanging out on the other side of the law.
Sorry that took so long. I had to use the other bathroom.
Anyways, Gen Z sit around at home on their iPhones. Music does not cut across generations anymore, defining a generation. Yeah, it's because the new toys do. I mean, I remember when video games were fucking all evil. That was part of what defined my generation and the one before.
Yeah.
And now it's in damn fucking iPhones. Okay, you know, it's a new toy. The kids are playing with it now. Good job.
Destroy it.
Instead, parents and kids alike share in what culture says is trending now. You actually share in what's trending now?
Yeah,
because
of
what's
course.
trending now is what usually makes them want to vomit.
Of course they share what's trending now.
Mm-hmm.
This woman is the mainstream.
Rebelling and exploring life away from home is an essential part of growing up. That's a very good point. WebMD, you're yuppie enough to quote WebMD on things, which may get some things right, but it's still WebMD. And
I love what James Urbaniak of the Venture Brothers said about WebMD. They should just have a thing that says you're going to die in 3 days.
yeah, pretty much.
That's what WebMD is.
Because, it goes through the worst case scenarios before telling you, oh, it could even be this really minor thing that no one ever worries about because it's that minor.
Rather than the medical thing, they should have a banner, you're going to die in 3 days.
Yeah. WebMD states that teens need independence, a separate identity, and to test authority. Yes, they do.
I never tested authority. I just fucking got
Didn't
rid of it.
care about it.
Yeah, there was no testing there.
It's part of growing up. It's also linked to developmental changes in the brain that will eventually help them become analytical adults instead of dominated by emotions like fucking millennials are.
Yes, emotions. I'm so emotional. Listen to me right now.
And this is why the new wave yuppie culture was so impactful on my life in the day. It gave me the freedom and independence to express and find who I was at that pivotal point of growing up, then accepting I was a yuppie. Oh, wait, I never accepted that because yuppies are dead.
Right. You basically decided that you wanted to like 3-part. I mean, I like pop music and melodic music if it's done well, but I mean, I don't even say that metal is sort of something I used to find myself. It was that when I listened to metal, even when I was like 7 years old, it was such a natural thing for me. It was something that I knew I was going to get into. Somehow, like, just we got satellite radio, and I was 7 or 8 years old. Yes, we were fucking yuppies, whatever. But it came with the truck. We got it, and they would turn past the metal station really quickly, right? They're like, oh god, we don't want to listen to this. I listened to about 2 seconds of it, was captivated for some odd reason. I was like, yes, this is me.
I mean, the main reason I say that metal helped define who the hell I was is because, I mean, I was fucking planning on fucking going on a school shooting and blowing up my school because I was bullied so heavily. And I was bullied so heavily because I came from a loony bin. And while I was just merely being honest about where I was, my fellow students decided I was trying to be hardcore and felt they had to prove themselves by putting me in my place by hitting me in the head with a fucking baseball bat. And my high school principal obviously thought I was a fucking retard incapable of amounting to anything in life. So, if I lifted a finger to defend myself, I would be expelled, and all fucking surrounding school districts would know I was an at-risk student, which would have ruined my dreams of going to college. Hence, the reason I was going to blow up my school was because, well, if I'm going to not achieve my dream of going to college, I may as well go out with a bang and get ultimate revenge.
Yes.
And the weekend I was planning on saying goodbye to my friends, they said, hey, Jim, listen to this. And it was Sweating Bullets by Megadeth. And all I heard was someone actually attempting to understand the way someone as nuts as I was thinking. Yes, it's pathetic in introspect because I've listened to better music. Hell, even fucking back then, shortly after that, I was listening to Criminally Insane by Slayer. But, I also love the fact that, I heard all these different ideas. I heard left-leaning ideas, right-leaning ideas, fucking calming ideas, fucking completely psychotic, let's legalize murder ideas, And this is all going through my head, and I just love the war of ideas and contemplating these things. And because I went to loony bin, I was already kind of into introspection. But dear God, once I got into metal, it just cemented, I have to look inward for all these fucking answers. Because most of these things don't have a definitive right or wrong answer. I can only define myself by myself.
I was always the
other
weird
people do it.
I was always the weird thinker with no friends, so it was easy for me. But like I said, it was just something like it because I can't even listen to the shit I used to listen to for nostalgia because it was so horrible, and I was pretty sure I would get into metal anyway. But here I am now. I haven't. I didn't blow up the school, which you didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't blow up the school because this shit made me see, oh wow, there's people willing to try to get to my level, and then I
Thankfully,
found people that actually hit my level, and I also found people that went well past my level, where I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. I
well,
want to
it's
hear
funny
more of
because
that.
for the longest time I didn't have any friends. My musical taste came from Eric Keller and virtual friends, and then I met people in high school who knew my kind of music, even music that I was way heavier than like Satanic War Master. Like, what the hell is this? This is awesome. So
Yeah,
that saved me.
feasting on the flesh of the insane.
Flesh.
Mm. Back then, music wasn't spoon-fed to us through Spotify. Well, music spoon-fed to you. How the hell do you think?
Through radio.
Yay. Well, this person thinks through radio. You
No, I
think
mean I'm just
through.
saying spoon fed was fed to her through radio or alternative radio, which alternative is basically just another word for it's slightly off kilter, therefore it can't be mainstream, even though it is mainstream.
Mm-hmm. We were not coddled with instantaneous outfits through fashion blogs.
No, you just
Yuppie.
read new wave magazines.
Yeah. And to have friends or a group to belong to, we had to explore the world for them by way of malls, record stores, and bookstores and teen clubs.
You still have to do that online. I mean, fucking. The only reason why I don't have friends in person is because this place sucks. But even online, you need to separate the wheat from the chaff from the fucking.
Look, I just want to go straight to where the gutter slime is. And then I bumped into you.
Yes,
And that made
and
me happier because you actually understand when I threaten your life.
I had two things. Mason was inviting me to Metalgate, so one, it's going to be a bunch of fucking posers, and I'm going to dominate the show and take over. Two, there might be someone interesting on the show that maybe I could share ideas with. And it turns out that Scott was a self-admitted new kid, and you were better. So I didn't have to take over, even though I sort of accidentally did.
Yeah, with this show. And the only reason I'm sidekicking is because I need someone else to bad ideas with because I'm horrible on my own unless I'm scripted.
Yes, and I'm horrible on my own anyway.
As a mother today, oh God, you bred.
Oh, I love it when Jim
Back of
reads.
filth.
I love it when Jim reads something intended for a woman. As a mother today.
Some of the statistics of Gen Z is good news. Teen pregnancy is down. Boo. Drug
Bullshit.
use is lower. Fuck you.
Bullshit.
Fuck you. That's just a sign that war on drugs is going to continue if it actually is lower.
Well,
But I'd like to
granted,
say bullshit because I know a lot of people that are part of Gen Z that are huge.
well, granted,
fucking
most
They
of
just
Gen
hide
Z, there's a
They just have to hide
substantial.
it better because mothers and fathers are looking over their shoulders all the time.
Yes, but granted, there's a substantial part of Gen Z that's like 6 to 12 years old. So I'll wait for
According
about.
to these people, yeah.
I'll wait for about
They
5
gotta
years.
get to that age before they're like, you know what, I'm gonna try pot. Oh my god, I'm fucking
Yeah,
hooked on heroin and shit.
granted,
What the fuck happened to
yeah,
my life?
most of the time, 6-year-olds don't fuck.
Yeah, 6-year-olds usually don't fuck. But still. I just love how I presented weed as a gateway drug, even though it's not. It's the fact you're hanging out with criminals, so they're gonna push you the hardcore shit 'cause that makes more money.
Well, Puke did it because he's Puke and he likes to share. And then Allison and him were like, "Okay, you're going overboard here. Don't die. I'll be fine. You just passed out in your own vomit again."
Yeah,
Oh.
dude, if I would have known you back in my day, God, I would have because my favorite thing was to ask people, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" If I was tripping with them, and every time they'd say no, or they'd even question Well, what are you seeing? I'd feed them another hit of acid, and then wait a while, then ask them again. Until they just blindly said yes. Then I knew they were on the next level.
It would have been an interesting.
That would have been interesting with you because, oh, this is a challenge. He's actually totally blind. Let's see if I can make him see anything. I will feed you enough acid until you gain sight. And then eventually, after probably 2 sheets of acid, you'd be like, I can see. And then you'd walk right into a wall. It's like, yes, I have achieved a miracle.
Unfortunately, now I'm perma tripping.
Yeah.
Is he insane? The birds are telling me to join them.
They're going, join us. Join us. Like the fucking intro to Hell Awaits.
Oh, God.
Yes, you're at the level I need you at. This is my pet blind kid. Watch.
Unfortunately, he's been at this level for about 12 years now.
This is my pet blind kid. Watch as he does amazing things. And all you're doing there is sitting there laughing at the stereo.
For 12 years.
Mm.
No, I'm sorry. I hate to correct you. I was Allison's pet. Only Allison's. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, but
I'd be your trained monkey.
Yeah, there we go. Pet. Her pet, my trained monkey. Good.
Also her, as she called it, little experiment.
And they are highly educated compared to my generation. I just told you the tale of a guy that said that doesn't know what quarter till 3 means. That's highly educated.
I just killed myself again.
Yeah. Conversely, for Generation X, drug use was high. No, it actually wasn't.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, and further, it wasn't as high as you think it was. Dear God.
But why is
there
that
were
a bad
lots of people we knew to hide our drug use from within our own peerage, and they way outnumbered us. So no, it wasn't anywhere near as high as it is today, where people just don't care.
But why is that a bad thing?
I don't know. It's actually a good thing, in my opinion. Dear God, was it fun? Made a lot of stupid decisions, but dear God.
Well, these kids need to take drugs.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Sex was more casual than today's Generation Z.
Okay, I don't know about today's Generation Z. I'm speaking for millennials, quote unquote. My high school, I renamed it Teen Pregnant High School, and most of them weren't actually relationships. They just fucking. Although I do know one girl who her boyfriend left town, and she didn't know why. Apparently, he left town to go kill someone.
Ah, that's actually fun.
Yeah. Bright, upstanding member of the community here.
And we trusted people back then that may not have been part of intelligent decisions. Like people of today aren't trusting people that
I
aren't
want to trust people who. Hey, let's drink a gallon of whiskey each, okay?
Oh God! Here. This is my famous party trick. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get a half gallon of cheap vodka. Vladimir was the cheapest at the time. And then we're going to get the biggest beer bong we have. We're going to fill it with said vodka. And I'm going to down the entire half gallon of vodka in 6 seconds or less. And this is the start of the party in my attic. If I survived, it was one hell of a party. If I didn't, whoa. Okay, we got to drag Jim back to his bed again.
See, they're nicer than I am. I just leave you fucking slaying there and continue the party.
Well, they had to get me out of the way to make room for someone that would sit there. And, of course, there was my other friend who helped me run my drug business when I'd get too fucked up.
See, part of me doesn't
and there was times I was at work that newcomers would come in, and he was introduced. This is Jim. No, he's not Jim. His name was nothing like Jim.
See,
But
this
he's
is
sitting there taking care of business like he's me. And, like, there'd be people there. It's like, hold on, I need you to wait till morning, And then I'd come home in the morning. It's like, okay, time to take Jim to the fucking liquor store. Wait, but I thought you weren't. Shut up. Take Jim to the liquor store. And then we still had to sit there an hour before it opened.
Oh, see, no, because see, here's what I did whenever Puke passed out. I would put him in a chair, right, and leave him there. Who's that? Oh, that's the host of the party. Yeah, he partied so hard he fucking crashed. Why aren't you crashed out yet? You need to party harder.
Yes.
Maybe he's just a poser. Shows all the empty beer bottles and fucking joints and no. Maybe you need to party harder. Okay. Ugh.
But it was real life, not Snapchat, YouTube, or a reality show. We became young adults prepared for life. But you're a yuppie. Ergo, you're not prepared for life in the slightest.
I became a young criminal prepared for jail, which
Yeah.
is where I'd be headed.
And, if I didn't feel my daughter kick for the first time, I probably would have never tried cleaning up my act, and I'd be in prison right now. Or dead.
If I didn't, well, first it was Puke dead, but that didn't really. Then I tried going straight, and then I wanted to either end it all or just go completely off the wagon and just become a complete alcoholic. And then for some reason, 2015, everything got better. No idea why. On a show, did a thing. Now I met a girl, and I'm still misanthropic as hell.
Well, I know my parents were not thrilled with my seemingly odd fashion choices or strange sounding synthesizer music. Yuppie.
God.
Unless
it's like dungeon synth, that really weird space ambient type thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's.
I look back on those years with a fondness. Yes, you're stuck in the past.
I look back on some years with fondness, but
I look back on my years with a fondness, but you're trying to say that you need to relive that.
But I'm also glad I survived them.
I mean, this is one thing that I keep bitching about. We need to get the kids fucking out there to make all the mistakes early. Lower the drinking and stoner age to 13, if not lower, and raise the voting age to 25. This way, by the time they hit 25 and they hit that threshold where they could start, voting, they will have made a shit ton of horrible decisions in life and maybe, just maybe, have learned one thing from them.
See, I disagree only because I wouldn't have been able to vote for you in the last election.
Yeah, I know, but still. I'm going to the extreme here. Mm-hmm.
I think we should lower the drinking age to 3 and the voting age to 5.
Okay, that sounds real good.
I love it. Barney the Drunken Dinosaur.
But in all seriousness, I do believe we should lower the drinking and stoner age down to 13. That's not even me shit talking, because you give kids the option, but you.
I disagree on one ground. I had a lot of fun illicitly sneaking in alcohol when I was under 21.
Well, you'd still have to sneak it past your parents. It would just be legal under the law. Your parents would probably be like, no, you can't do that.
Actually, they didn't care. It was just everything else that,
Yeah.
And I'd have to, puke, liquor store. Again?
Oh, God, I remember fucking going up to a fucking drunken hobo in front of the fucking pizza shop, asking him to buy me booze. And then, a few years later, I was 21, walking out of the pizza store, and a couple young kids asked me for booze, and I just sat there thinking to myself, and so the cycle continues.
I still love this when Mustaine met Ellefson after throwing a potted plant through his chimney because he was playing bass, and he knocks on the door. Yeah, what do you want? Do you know where we can get some cigarettes? There's a store on the corner. Knock again. Do you know where you can buy beer? Are you old enough to buy beer? Now you're talking.
I can't help but to think that Generation X had a special something that the Generation Z is going to miss. Oh, yeah, because you support laws which make it impossible for them to make the same horrible decisions we did.
Horrible decisions are the best decisions.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
it
able to
was.
do that because I had older people with me.
Yeah,
So there you go.
there's the right and wrong people to have with you.
Become jail bait, basically. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. That's your only way out. To willingly be molested by someone older than you. And then that's okay to be out after midnight.
Bombing people, obviously.
I remember fucking shit. Well, we have talked enough about drugs.
No, we haven't.
Think it's harmless? Now 9 in 10 teens at drug clinics are being treated for dum da dum 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 marijuana use. Really? This is how pathetic you've gone. This fucking hand holding needs to stop. Heroin? Yes, I could see you being treated for heroin. I could see you being treated for meth. I could see you being treated for cocaine, crack. These things that are physically addictive. Pot.
They say 2 years goes by quickly. Not if you have to read stories like this, it doesn't.
Cannabis is responsible for 91% of drug addiction cases involving teenagers.
God, I'm gonna kill you, Jim.
Addiction. Addiction. Addiction.
It's impossible to get
Pot.
addicted. I mean, I know people who love it and smoke it all the time, but I never. I mean, I liked it, but I hated the low energy Deadhead vibe, so I stopped because I was like, yeah, the last thing I want right now is low energy.
I
And most of
didn't.
the time, like, about ready to fall
I.
asleep.
All you did to counteract that was either drink a lot of caffeine or start doing cocaine.
Yeah, but I had no cocaine at the time.
So you just make yourself an energy drink. You're like,
Yeah,
wow.
right. Yeah.
I mean, back in my day, we only had Jolt and fucking coffee. So.
Oh, you had more than. Oh no, you had more than that. Did I ever tell you about Puke's? How Puke stayed awake during the day because he was a fucking night owl and he had to work at a convenience store. You know those pep pills truckers take?
Oh yeah,
You, you
I
know the
remember.
no. You know the ones that say don't mix with coffee? Well,
Yes,
he would take a lot of the pills and wash it down with.
coffee. I did the same thing. And then there was the one day it was like, you know, my cocaine hookup is in jail, so I'm just gonna eat like a whole
Yeah,
handful of these.
yeah.
and then like my sister's there. Look, I was like, told her of all people, I asked my fucking Christian sister, look after me. It feels like my heart is about to burst out of my body.
Yep.
Please. Oh God, I'm not doing this again.
He used to do it every day for weeks because he had to. Cause, and I would meet him at the convenience store. Hi. Coffee, donuts. What? It's like, dude, you sound like you're about to fucking have a heart attack. No, fine. You're fine.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded the right like Violet from the Fallout New Vegas, just
Yeah.
all the time.
Skunk, high potency herbal cannabis, causing more people to seek treatment. And skunk's not even the highest. I've had higher. And that shit, whenever they started first doing the medical thing, oh God, that was good. And then it got even better because people that knew how to grow it got, oh. But no, pot addiction. God. Two words combined that make no sense. Backs up research that skunk is having detrimental impact on mental health.
Good.
Good.
Too much sanity in this world.
And to be fair, I would rather have people stoned out of their gourds doing their thing than people sober fucking up all civilization as we know
need
it.
more of what TV tropes calls cloud cuckoo landers. You know, people who think that they're part of the floor and that fucking they go out and talk to Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, we
I
need
want
that.
to see more of those people.
Unfortunately, we're not.
Sanity is not fun.
Cannabis is responsible for 91% of cases where teenagers end up being treated for drug addiction. Is this because they're being forced to go by the law and
Maybe
the
it's
court
because
system?
kids are just pussies.
Yeah. I think this is because it's court ordered, so they have to go. But now they're saying it's horrible, even though it's court ordered that they have to go, as opposed to like hardcore junkies on
Well,
substances.
that and
Like we got
a lot of
Scotty.
things.
We got Scotty who was addicted to some hardcore pills. Okay, he needed some help to get off of it. Okay, and I understand that was physically addictive shit. Good on him for sobering up. But pot, really?
Well, a lot of these people are teenagers and they're probably really fucking afraid. So as soon as they figure out, like, I'm getting high multiple times a day, am I addicted? I need to go to rehab because if I
Yeah,
don't go to,
they went to WebMD. Oh yeah, you do it every day. You're addicted. Oh my god, I learned on
the
it.
funny thing about
I'm
rehab
gonna
is,
die in 3 days.
like, most of the people there are homeless people, either junkies or not even people who are addicted to drugs. Basically, just people who need a home whenever it snows.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Puke used to check himself into rehab like 3 times a year. Whenever it got too cold, whenever he was out of whenever he got thrown out, he'd check himself into rehab.
Supporters of the drug claim it's harmless, but an official report now warns that the increased dominance of high potency herbal cannabis, known as skunk, is.
Maybe it's a different kind of skunk. I mean, I haven't been in the fucking pot scene for a while. The names do change, so maybe it's a different thing.
It is causing more young people to seek treatment. Oh my god, I'm paranoid, and WebMD told me I was gonna die in 3 days unless I quit smoking pot.
And then you die in 3 days because WebMD killed you.
Yeah.
Fucking like the you have been selected to die in 3 days.
Mm-hmm. The revelation comes amid growing concerns that universities and even some public schools are awash with high-strength cannabis and other drugs.
The only thing we can get,
worry about.
the only thing we could get is ditchweed, and occasionally some better than ditchweed. But yeah, usually it was fucking. It would give you a headache before it got you high.
Yeah.
It would, I once compared it to smoking a brush fire, and my incredibly stoned, because he actually had good weed friend, he goes, "How do you know what a brush fire smell is like when you smoke it? Have you been smoking brush fires?"
Mm-hmm. The findings also back up academic research. There we go. Gotta love academia.
I also had a guy
for everyone.
I also had a guy who, without even knowing I was blind, he was stoned, and he goes, "What are the dreams of blind people like?"
We need to. You know what? That is something I would probably ask if I was totally lit.
I know.
I mean, you've answered the question because someone asked it. I was just like, well, you're going to get sounds and, maybe other sensations because I get other sensations in my dreams.
It's weird. I know where I am and I know what I'm doing, but it's not. It's different. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be different because you're lacking one sense and you have no idea how to interpret it if it even pops up in your dream.
And nothing makes. Yeah, exactly. And nothing makes sense. I had a dream once where we had a toilet. Okay. No reason why it was a fucking toilet. I don't know, but every day in the morning, it would spout off Nihilistic, there is no God messages in the voice of Malcolm McDowell.
Oh my god, I want that toilet.
So I would, and
This is just the voice of Malcolm McDowell saying, "There is no God."
you're all going to die in 4 years because this conspiracy in 1972, I what it said made
Yes.
no earthly sense because it was like the Pope's conspiracy theory in 1972 about 5 horses basically means that, but it made sense in my dream.
I want that
I
toilet.
shit you not. That was a dream I had a couple weeks ago.
I want that toilet now.
I just,
That is the world's greatest toilet. I want it.
everyone hated it but me, and I would walk in at like 6:30 in the morning just to hear it speak.
The toilet hath spoken.
I
In the
don't
voice of
even know.
Malcolm McDowell.
I don't
Yeah.
even know if it was voice acted or if it was sentient or AI or it was just the weirdest fucking. I woke up and I couldn't even make. Why was it a toilet?
Yes, the toilet whispers in my dreams.
And it's funny because I mean, what's the first thing you do when you get up? Go to the bathroom. And I went to the toilet. Like, speak.
The world is for naught.
It was the weirdest fucking dream. I miss it though. I want to have it again.
Oh my god. Welly, 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 well, me droogies. But anyways, if the funding's back up academic research, we have to admit academia needs flushed down the toilet the moment they start shitting on weed.
They need to be flushed down the toilet after Malcolm McDowell gives a speech about how there is no God and the world's going to end because the Pope said in 1970.
Yes. Speak more of these dark sequence toilet.
In 1972, I don't even it didn't make any sense, but of course in my dream it made perfect sense.
Revealed in the mail on Sunday over the past 3 years that skunk is having serious detrimental impact on mental health of the young.
Good. We need more cloud cuckoo landers.
Yes. And that shows that they're having, an actual childhood there. If they're doing drugs, that's according to the last article we just read. That's one of the qualifiers.
We need more brain damage.
Mm-hmm. I brained my damage real good.
Yeah, well, I drained my
I
damage.
also got pummeled in the face a lot. That was my fighting style too. I would take hits like a motherfucker and not even care that they were punching me in the face and shit. And I'd get knocked down 52 times. And the whole time, 2 things are happening. 1, I'm mapping their fucking fighting style as they're pummeling me. And 2, they're getting more exhausted. This leaves them open for opening. And what would happen is after, the 3rd or 4th time, I'd get back up off the ground sometimes. It took that long. Other times I'd do it after taking, 5 or 6 hits. I'd have it mapped out well enough. I knew one opening. Crack! Right in the fucking temple. They slump on the ground. Then I'm stomping on their face, screaming, "Why won't you stop breathing?" And my friends are pulling me back, saying, "Dude, this is attempted murder if you keep going in this direction. Do you want this?" No. And then I'd leave them.
So you brained your damage.
Yeah, I brained my damage.
Well, I drained my bramage, so there you go.
At least 2 studies have shown repeated use triples the risk of psychosis. Yes.
Good.
Yes, good. They'll have an actual life experience if they're going.
We need axe crazy. We need people who are more axe crazy. Axe crazy. Sorry.
With sufferers repeatedly experiencing delusional thoughts.
I am God because the Malcolm McDowell toilet told me so.
Dude, you want to know how I used to gauge how good acid was?
How?
I gauged how good acid was not by how many times I thought, but how many times I knew with every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
How many times I knew I was God.
You know the funny thing about acid though is because we used to sell acid. Everyone wants to know what are you gonna see, and of course, acid works differently with different people. But we fucking tell them well, you're gonna see God, and He's gonna tell you what an amazing being you are, and then you're
Uh,
gonna fly on a vomit horse.
oh, it was great because at the time, neo Nazis were a huge anti-drug,
Yeah.
and fucking my one buddy who was a neo Nazi, I told him to draw on a sheet of acid I bought, and it was a beautiful, glorious fucking picture of the landing of Iwo Jima, except that it was an SS, an SA, and a Confederate soldier raising the Iron Eagle flag.
Iron Eagle flies
So
again.
I dubbed it Hitler acid. And I had stories come back to me where people were like, dude, I saw like a bunch of body bags on the street. They were hurling it in the mobile crematorium. It was garbage night. but because I said it was Hitler acid, they just started thinking Hitler, and that influenced their trip.
Yes.
And everyone said different things, but it was all back to like I was in the Holocaust, or I saw war, or there was a mad bombing. One guy even said he saw a Japanese Zero wreck into a building.
Dude. My friend says he tells a story where he was on acid and he saw, those big fucking Earth grader steamroller type things? He saw someone jump in front of it and get his head, it went like pop. And it turned out that actually happened. He wasn't hallucinating.
Some victims end up taking their own lives. Who?
Good.
Who?
You're a loser. There's nothing
I mean, they
more
were
for
probably
you.
going to take their own lives with or without. Just saying if they did. But you're blaming the drug instead of the person being suicidal.
Yes, I heard an episode of Swine Brothers and couldn't take life anymore.
Yeah, that's something I would be proud of. Someone ending their own life because they hurt us once.
He was talking about Malcolm McDowell toilets, and I just realized I hated life because I didn't have one. Life is not worth living if you don't have one.
The latest UK focal point on drugs report. I swear this has to be in response to so many states in the US going at least for medical, if not going full bore, let's legalize it commercially. And now even Trump saying he's going to let up on the war on pot.
Why won't he let up on the war on fucking bath salts?
Yeah, we need bath salts.
I never knew anyone who did bath salts, though.
Neither did I, but apparently for eating someone's face, it's good shit.
Apparently, it just I haven't read this in a long time, but apparently it does some horrible things to you, like basically rots your brain.
Yeah. That's what most of the really, really fucked up drugs that cause you to eat other people's faces do.
God, I miss angel dust.
Drawn up by bodies including Public Health England. Oh, God, that's gone downhill if you're blaming pot. The Scottish government and the Home Office.
Yeah, laddie, you know, pot's a bad drug, eh? Oh, I'm Scottish. Haggis and pot.
Over the past decade, the number of under 18s treated for cannabis abuse in England has jumped from 40% from 9,043 in 2006 to 12,712 in 2017.
I have an email I would like to read from Miss Sarah Jane Green from the UK, from England, who is listening to this.
Yeah.
Quote, I weep for my country, unquote.
Yes, as you should. This is pathetic.
Yes.
God. And I remember when we had similar shit going around here in the 90s in the US, and they were talking, oh my God, weed's so horrible. It's like, dude, you don't get hooked on it.
And
I've seen what heroin and meth do to people. That's some fucking horrible shit. Cocaine, a lesser part of it, and they're really malleable. You can make fucking crackheads fucking,
What
cower in
fucks
fear.
crackheads up is the money part of it.
Yeah, because they lose concept of money, and it is
And then they
really
start robbing
fucking
their friends
expensive.
for
Yeah,
fucking.
they
So
start robbing their friends, but if you sit there and say, "I'll fucking gut you," they usually cower before they steal from you.
heroin does actually fuck you up. Crack, like I said, it. I mean, I'm not saying it can't fuck you up. I'm just saying that, like,
Oh, it fucks you up in a different way. It makes you more malleable. So, that's fine if it makes you malleable and people.
PCP makes you fucking.
PCP, I'm invincible. You can never take my life away.
Yes, and fucking, I have seen fucking people go into beast mode on PCP, and then they wake up the next morning. My arms broken in 12 places. What happened?
Life on drugs is just how it seems. It's sucked and it's fucked and it's dirt, mighty unclean. Mm-mm.
Yes.
So much fun. Treatment for all narcotics has increased by 20%, up from 11,618 to 13,961.
I still want to know how many of these are just homeless people who fucking, I mean, it makes sense. The winter's there. Oh, I have a drug problem. Yes, drug problem.
The proportion of juvenile drug treatment for cannabis use is up from 4 in 5 cases to 9 in 10.
That's sad. Smoke more pot, people. Go psycho.
Yes, if it's fucking you up this bad, you need to do more of
I
it.
want to meet people who. How are you today? I had tea with Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's something you can actually be concerned about because it's an actual addictive substance. Oh my god. There has been a sharp increase in cocaine use among 15-year-olds.
I do cocaine.
Yes, it's an actual addictive substance. Good job for including one addictive substance in this.
I seriously do a lot of cocaine.
Up 56% from 16,700 to 26,200. Yay.
What about eating monkey shit? Is that an addictive substance? What are you addicted to? I ate monkey shit.
Oh, sir, eating Cape Luwak.
Did you know rabbits actually have to eat their own shit? That's how they need nutrients, so they eat rabbit shit.
That's glorious.
Yeah, I actually did not know that until I looked up why dogs eat shit, and yeah, apparently rabbits have to.
That's glorious.
Yeah, it's also disgusting.
Last night, Lord Nicholas Monson, whose 21-year-old son, Rupert Green, killed himself last year after becoming hooked. You don't think there was other things at home, like, parents part of the House of Lords and, that causes a lot
I
of
killed
stress.
myself last night.
But no, it's because he became hooked on high-strength cannabis.
Well, okay. See, I'm not. I mean, he could just be a weakling. He could be. I don't know what to do. I feel like I want to get high, but I don't want to be addicted. I'm gonna end it.
I mean, dear God, do you even know the stress that goes through any kid whose parents are involved in politics? And we're talking Lord here, so that's
Yeah,
like
but the House of Lords really aren't involved in politics anymore.
they're not really
Yeah.
involved. They can only do oh wow, we suggest this thing.
Yeah,
And
I
this is
mean,
our symbolic vote.
unless you
But
become like
still
prime minister or something.
but still, it's there and it causes stress.
But I'm just
And it's
saying,
gonna
maybe
be
he was just
stressful
a
on kids being, that close to the spotlight. So
maybe he's just a really really bad weakling.
uh-huh. These figures show the extent of the damage that high potency cannabis wreaks on the young. Are you sure it's not that they're forced by the courts because they got busted once? Or maybe they saw one too many WebMD things and freaked out. I don't know.
Or maybe they're just weaklings.
Yeah, pussies pampered by their parents. that need to
Yes.
be euthanized.
Or need to be shot up with so many drugs. They think they had tea with Jack the Ripper.
And then whenever they actually get old enough to do things in life, they realize, oh my God, I did a lot of fucked up things when I was a kid and I learned a lesson from it.
And then they go back to their delusions, think the goat's a pope.
Exactly. That makes you an interesting person.
Did you know that the goat's a pope?
The big danger for young people, particularly teens, is that their brains can be really messed up by this stuff because they're still developing biologically. We heard this back in the 90s.
My brain's not messed up.
Oh God, I remember hearing all this shit back in the fucking 80s. It said, oh my God, it's still developing and it's fucking them up really bad. It's pot.
I'm not insane though. I'm a perfectly sane carrot.
You want to know what really fucks up kids?
Care Bears?
Whenever you buy a sheet of acid and your little brother, who's only like 3 years old, finds it and starts drawing on it because he thinks it's just another piece of paper, and it's a sheet of really potent LSD, and it seeps into his pores, and he still thinks he's Batman 20 years later.
Is there truth in this, or
Yes.
Okay.
This was Dave's little brother who got a hold of his acid one day, and like he thought he was Batman. And then I bumped into him like just a couple years ago, and he at the gym, and he was still thinking he was Batman, and he had to go to the gym so he could fight crime.
Did he say this in all seriousness?
Yes.
How did he survive through school?
I do not know, but he was clearly an adult at this point, and still thought he was Batman. I don't know, but
either he's perma tripping or that just started it.
That just started the trickle down effect into complete schizo land. Like, hey, we're happy here.
And the other guy stuttered a lot.
If they develop drug-induced psychosis,
Batman,
or any other number of things, I'm Batman. The illness can stick for life. Fuck you.
I had a friend who thought he was a fire truck.
Yeah.
He used to try to piss on people's lighters.
The large rise in the number of youngsters treated for cannabis abuse comes despite the fact that total usage is falling slightly. Oh my God, we have to go in panic mode because the numbers are going down, but they're still high.
Yes.
Somehow, I don't know, it's like 1. And we got to panic because one person. Because that's what we do in today's world.
And then we die.
The report concludes, while fewer people are using cannabis, those who are using it are experiencing greater harm.
Good.
Fuck you.
Good.
Almost all cannabis on Britain's streets is skunk, which is 4 times more powerful than types that dominated the market until the early 2000s.
And of course, skunk might be a British term. It might be called something else in America, like fucking fuck you, weed.
Like, this is G37.
See, I had a
I did one hit, and then it was Tuesday. I don't know which Tuesday, but it was definitely a Tuesday. But I started on a Wednesday.
I had a skit that I wrote up for it's I always find it interesting how they have weird names like that, right? And I always had like a corporate executives in a boardroom. Well, Ralph, I sampled some of the new product just for research, you understand, and I saw Satan. So let's call it Devil's Acid.
Yes. Here, have another hit of Hitler acid.
Why is Hitler reciting Mein Kampf to me?
In the most fucked up manner, and he somehow fit in Shakespeare and like that fucking one. Oh my God, it's like that mem rabbit. Oh, why the fuck?
McDowell was telling me that there is no God and that the world's going to end.
And it's all coming from the toilet.
The best part about it is no one liked the toilet except for me. I was like, I have to hear his morning dialogue.
Gordon Monson said, "We really need ministers to get a grip and launch a major publicity campaign about the dangers."
Smoke, weed, smoke, weed.
I tell you this, we had that back in the 80s, and now we're making weed legal.
Smoke.
Yeah, smoke weed. It'll do your mind
Put
so
subliminal
much.
advertise. That's one of the few jokes about Family Guy that I actually liked was the subliminal advertisements in fucking Lassie. Smoke.
Oh, yeah, you're a fucking moron. The deepest political question that comes to the pothead's mind: which politician will give me the most free money from the taxpayers? I know plenty of potheads who are totally against the welfare state because they, have jobs and that's how they support their habit.
I know a pothead who thought his greatest question was, which of the politicians will give me free pizza? That was actually as serious. We were having me and Puke were actually having a political debate, and he pops up with, "Well, you're not asking the big questions." And I was like, "Okay, which one of these assholes will give me free pizza?" Can't argue with that.
Meanwhile, I fucking sit there and me, a neo-Nazi, a commie, and a fucking Native American nationalist
Going to a bar.
are all stoned out of our minds having a really intense political debate, which does trail off into a lot of uhs and pass the bowl and all this other shit. And of course, the fucking commie has to stampede off because he couldn't hack it. And it was just really fun after that point watching the fucking Native American nationalist go head to head with a neo-Nazi in
Yes,
political debate, stoned off their asses because it's like, well, what you gonna do? You're the ones that took our land, you fuckers.
but let me ask
And
you a
this is
question.
our land. If you're all about, keeping it pure to the native history, then you should give it to us. But you see, what happened was conquest and glory and oh god, this is great.
Have you ever played stoned chess?
Yes, actually, I have.
Because I actually did, and it went like this. Someone would make a move, and the other people would think for 20 minutes, and then, whose turn was it? I think it's yours, dude. Oh, sorry.
What was fun was like we were playing with pieces that you poured shots into,
Nice.
and like loser had to drink the board.
Gulp, 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 gulp. Blah. Fucking exorcist vomit.
We actually played a decent game, stoned off our asses while taking shots and on acid.
Wow, because
We were all fucked up, and the game was actually legit. I mean, yeah, it was like fucking beginner level. It was all fucking. It's nothing you would see on a championship game.
yeah,
But like it was intense. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe you. How the fuck did you see that check come up? Oh my god, how the hell did he do that and now put you in check?
yeah.
And now it's check.
I have no idea if it was
Like half
beginner
the
level or
board's
not.
gone now, and I lost, so I had to drink the fucking board.
Ooh.
And
I have no idea
said,
if
I
it
do
was
this for my country. And I boom, 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 boom.
I don't know what level it was because I can barely remember playing anything. Like I can't to this day I can't remember what pieces we moved, but I remember the 20-minute thinking. Whose turn was it? Yours. Sorry. Like there
But
was more than
seriously,
just weed.
I know quite a few stoners that are like totally against the welfare state. You just have no concept. All drugs make you a slave. Fuck you, you're a moron.
Oh, wait. Stop. All drugs make you a slave. Tuguar?
Oh, here we go. Okay, if my math is right, you're talking about 0.34% of the teens in the UK.
Okay, well, Yay.
You got Jeff Sessions writing your propaganda now?
Oh, God. He has his name, Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions, just oozes south.
Yeah. Ex-funeral director ends silence on bizarre case.
Yes, I fucked the mongoose.
The public knows Robert B. Winston Jr. as the former funeral director at the center of bizarre story involving the remains of 300 fetuses.
300 fetuses, 300 fetuses.
And 19 newborns found stockpiled in his McKeesport garage right near my home. In August 2005.
Be glad, Jim. Be glad.
To be fair, I think that is totally awesome. He had 300 fetuses and 19 newborns stockpiled. they're
stockpile of infant corpses.
But Winston's friends see him as a pillar of the community who served on numerous civic boards and virtually gave away his services to grieving families in need.
Do you have any fetuses I can borrow?
Until his own generosity bankrupted him and led to his downfall. Well, yeah, that's usually the way Hitler's a society are. They usually got such a shady underbringing that they have to fucking do something. Even though I personally have no problem with hoarding 300 fetuses and 19 newborn corpses in your fucking locker.
My wife died.
Most of the society frowns on this thing.
My wife died. She was pregnant. May I see the fetus?
But less people become pillars of the community to hide the fact that they're actually scum behind closed doors.
That's just a sociopath.
Yeah. That's why I don't trust fucking pillars of the community, because I know they're gonna fucking be, the wrong kind of people.
Or I do trust them because usually they're serial killers, and I like serial killers. As long as they don't kill me. Or the three people I care about.
Mr. Winston, 64, pleaded no contest to 19 counts of abuse of a corpse and 1 count of theft in relation to the remains of a deceased newborns and fetuses stockpiled in his garage.
Infant sodomy. Infant sodomy.
All fetuses. Allegheny County Common Pleas Judge Jeffrey A. Manning sentenced him to 4 years of probation plus court costs. Good.
We've heard that name before. He sentenced someone else from Allegheny, which we read on this thing. He just gets all the cool people.
Yeah. Mr. Winston has maintained public silence for more than 3 years as his case wended its way through the court system. But last September, as he was scheduled to plead guilty on several counts, including abuse of a corpse, he wound up withdrawing his plea instead. He contacted the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, wanting to explain how he had come to such a pass.
Well, you see, I have sex with the corpses, and the corpses are fun to have sex with.
It's not easy to be held up to ridicule and scorn. I know this.
Yes, it is.
I know it's not easy, but once you learn how, it gets to be a hell of a lot of fun. Trust me.
I mean, for me, it's easy to be hit. I just have to talk.
Well, it's easy for me to be ridiculed and scorned now. Back when I was a wee little lad experiencing it, it was not.
I wonder how mean I would have been to you if I met you then.
You probably have driven me to suicide. Because I was so fucking weak and pathetic back then.
You drove your future friend to suicide, which means she's not your future friend, but no. Time cube.
I never defended myself. That's not like me. But I didn't want this to be a sound bite. I want people to understand the full story of what happened to me. I spent my life trying to do what's right, and I find myself in this predicament.
300 fetuses is what's right.
He was a poor businessman who let too many clients slide without paying their bills. That led him to put the fees from McGee towards other expenses that he should have been paying a crematorium to dispose. Yeah, that's what happens
Yeah.
when you're charitable.
Yep.
I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I wish I had put other creditors off and taken care of this first, but hindsight is 2020. You don't realize what you're jeopardizing until it's too late.
Yep. I mean,
This is totally believable.
yeah.
I was being nice to people, but because I wasn't fucking paying the right people off to dispose of the corpses, I,
Well, yeah,
had a
because
bunch of
crematorium,
corpses.
they don't just do it for free.
Yeah.
But I sort of like my version better. Well, you see, young man, there is nothing better than a fetus rape.
Yes. Mr. Winston also said he was tipped by an ambiguous state regulation, tripped up by an ambiguous state regulation requiring the sale of pre-need services. The rule allowed employees to meet with clients to explain the funeral home services and merchandise, as his secretary Pauline Kimber had done for many years. But only licensed funeral directors were permitted to do the actual selling.
Huh.
That sounds like a bullshit law.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
But we get lots of those the more we let the state into our lives. Which is why we should just say fuck the government and demand politicians release the power, and then threaten to euthanize them should they not give up their power.
Yeah. Let me count the ways that won't work.
1, bang! We just shot another politician in the head. Release the power, or we should do it again.
Yes. Oh shit! They're coming at us with tanks. Tanks, man.
I'm certain the military would be on our side once we rose up against them, because they can't shoot their own. The precise definition of which is not completely clear, which is common for any government fucking bound regulation, because they have to leave it open-ended should the political environment change they need to punish someone.
Yay, punishing people.
In any case, a state board found him in violation of that rule, suspended his license for 3 years, and levied a $3,000 fine. Without his license, Mr. Winston couldn't legally dispose of the remains in storage, nor could he earn any income to keep his business going.
Wow. That sucks.
Fuck the state. In 2004, he was forced to close his funeral home.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he also could have just like open air burn pits.
Yeah, but now we get more people looking, and it's like, oh my god, there's human remains burning here. Yeah, but he's a funeral director. Oh my god!
It's not what it looks like.
He later lost the building and moved the remains to his garage.
That is so fucking awesome.
I know. If he were operating today, he might well be able to legally sell goods and services in the same way he and his secretary had done before he lost his license. The rule that tripped him up was clarified in 2004 after 2 large cemeteries in the state won federal lawsuit to allow their sales staff to sell goods and services.
Whoops.
But then it was too late for Mr. Winston. Yep. That, he said, is the thing he can't get over. The state did him a terrible injustice, he said, taking his license for doing what his funeral home always did and what they're doing now. Yeah, fuck this fucking government. Fuck it. This is what happens when we demand fucking more laws against shit. Hundreds of fetuses.
Hundreds of fetuses and zombie fetuses.
According to the State Board of Funeral Directors, written order of Mr. Winston's case, he ignored multiple notices from September 2003 to January 2004 of the charges against him and never defended himself. He claims he never got the notices, which is understandable. This shit keeps getting lost in the mail.
Well, and plus, what are you gonna say?
Oops.
Sorry.
State officials declined to discuss specifics of the case, as they always do, because they have to cover their asses when they fuck up. Saying they preferred to have the written order speak for itself, just as they always do when they have to
But
cover their
wait a
asses
minute.
because they fucked up.
The written order can't speak for itself unless you take a lot of acid.
Yeah, I know.
The written order's talking to me, man. It's saying slit his throat.
I kept the remains all that time because they took my license illegally, and I always expected to get it back and fulfill my obligation. If I had gotten them, if I had buried them or gotten rid of them, that would have been abuse of a corpse. I didn't do that. That's why I withdrew my guilty plea last year. Good. Fuck the government.
Fuck the government.
Close friends say there was a third cause for Mr. Winston's downfall. A man who spent much of his life helping others was too proud to admit he needed help himself. Well, yeah, that happens a
I
lot.
was raping corpses and I didn't realize I needed help. That maybe raping corpses isn't a good idea.
At one time in McKee Sport, all you had to do was mention the name Robert Winston, and you could get food, housing, whatever you needed, said the Reverend Sidney B. Walker, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Farrell. There were times I was laid off from the mills. He made my car payments so I wouldn't lose it. He'd help you, but wouldn't let you help him. That's common for someone that, has an ounce of humility and an ounce of charity in their blood.
Yes, but it bites.
Yeah, it bites you in the ass when you do it, because then you end up homeless and shit yourself. But
Which is why you should be a complete greedy, selfish bastard.
nah. Most people who go into the funeral business do so as part of a family tradition. Mr. Winston was an unusual entrant to the profession. A veteran of the 101st Airborne and a former electrician at the U.S. Steel's Clairton Coke Works, he developed asbestosis, and retired on disability in 1985. 5 years later, he settled a lawsuit against the asbestos company for $305,000 and decided to pursue a new career that always fascinated him.
Raping fetuses.
I know people that got into fucking mortuary services because they listen to death metal. So this isn't that hard.
The guy from Desecration, Ollie. Well, he's Ollie Stan. He was also amputated. I don't remember his real name, but he's actually a registered mortician.
Good shit there.
Yes.
You see someone sick for a long time, then see them laid out in the funeral home looking better than they were when they were alive. I always wondered how that was accomplished. Fair enough.
Except for with G.G. Allen. They didn't apply any makeup to him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He took courses at the University of Pittsburgh and Community College of Allegheny County, then enrolled at the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science. At age 49, he said, "I was older than most of the instructors." He graduated 18 months later with an associate's degree and did an internship at Odwell Robinson Funeral Home on the north side.
This makes me want to listen to old school death metal, watch old school horror movies so bad.
When he came here, he was so dedicated to what he was doing that pay was not an issue. He was just there to learn.
I'm just here to learn and fuck corpses.
Don't Mr. Winston passed the state boards in 1991 and, license in hand, used some of his lawsuit settlement to purchase the Charles W. Newman Funeral Home on Spring Street in McKeesport.
Yay, funeral home.
That building began to crumble within months, so he bought the former Gowity Funeral Home at Jenny Lind and Federal Streets. From there, he operated the Newman Winston Memorial Chapel from 1993 to 2004.
Is it a chapel of ghouls?
That'd be nice. In the beginning, I had money to put into the business, he said. People weren't always paying me. Some had hard times, and some who could pay just didn't. They'd promise to make an effort for a few months, then they'd stop. So I'd make up the difference.
He's too damn nice, is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a way, I respect it, but another, I'm like, oh, come on.
This is someone that likes doing the Christian-y thing for actual Christian-y reasons.
Yes, I know. Fucking.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I should have struck a balance, but my heart overtook my head, which is common with these things. The community was having hard times. Yeah, I know. We're talking about recession land, where I lost everything.
Well, this is in the 90s, so.
Oh, yeah, true.
This is before 2004.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I do remember McKeesport back then, and dear God, it got bad. It wasn't a ghetto, but it was getting there.
Well, I mean, anything you consider a ghetto probably wouldn't be according to my standards.
Oh, no, it wouldn't. Absolutely not. I mean, I've seen, things that were really close to a real ghetto. And then I talk to people like, no, the ghetto's worse than that. I'm like, oh, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I felt a responsibility to do as much as I could to help. Too often, he said, the families of the deceased were content to let him absorb the cost. Yeah, that's what happens whenever people hear you're a generous bastard. They step all over you.
Yep, which is why you should never be generous.
He estimates that 30 to 40% didn't pay. I stopped counting at 350,000 in bad paper.
Yeah, well, never be a saint.
Friends knew he was covering his clients' debts, but none realized the extent of his financial peril because he didn't tell them, which is common with this kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
When my mother died, I went to him thinking we had $5,000 in burial insurance. That's what she thought she was buying for all those years, but it turned out to be worth $1,200.
Oops.
Bobby buried her anyway. My dad had zero insurance, but Bobby still buried him. I paid him at a later date, but I was one of the few. If the people who owed him would have paid, he wouldn't be in this predicament.
Yeah. But that's how business works. People don't pay. Either because they can't or they just don't want to. I mean,
but it wasn't only unpaid funerals that put Mr. Winston in this hole. Bobby got the reputation of helping people with whatever they needed, said another friend, not former.
I was gonna say former friend. I stopped respecting you when you didn't fuck the fetuses.
Yeah. Phyllis Brown. Bobby is like a brother to me. But as close as we are, I didn't know his situation until I read it in the paper.
Yeah. I mean,
dressed yesterday in a suit and tie with his hands laced behind his back, Mr. Winston told the judge, this has been a long ordeal for both myself and these individuals that I let down. I accept responsibility for it and apologize to the hospital and especially the people I was entrusted to take care of.
you didn't do anything.
Very sorry.
I mean, He didn't really do anything. It wasn't really your fault, though.
It was the government fucking you over.
Yes.
Fuck the
Granted, I
government.
would have done the opening a burn pit, but there's a reason why I'm not trusted with anything.
Yes. Of all people I've helped, nobody ever came to me and said, "I know I owe you 5,000. Here's 50 because I know you need it." That's where my anger lies right now.
Yeah, people fucking. Yeah, I mean, just give them any sort of money. Any
Yeah.
would have been better than nothing.
Uh-huh. When you try to do your very best, sometimes things befall you that you can't control. You reach a point where you just have to make the ordeal the best deal you can. For 3 years, I've been held hostage by this. I haven't slept or eaten properly in all that time. It's time for me to move on.
Yeah.
Several families have filed civil lawsuits against McGee Women's in connection with the handling of their deceased babies and fetuses by Mr. Winston. Those cases are pending.
Okay. Yeah. So he tried to do the right thing, and he was bitten in the ass for it. That was the moral of that story.
The prosecutor agreed to a sentence of probation to be set by the judge. The terms of the plea were reported incorrectly in this article. Okay, so he did a plea
Well,
arrangement
that's
to
good.
get
It's just
probation.
probation. I don't really
Yeah,
think he deserved any sort of punishment or any
no, he
sort of
doesn't.
jail time or anything.
No, this
Hey,
is just
Bobby,
where you
you
gotta
got
fucking burn the government.
Bobby? You got any fetuses in your garage? No, sir. No fetuses.
But anyways, that's all I got for today.
Yes, it's been a very long episode.
Yes.
In fact, so long, it's officially another day. This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 142 for April the 28th and 29th, 2018. Well, it's 12:06 here. It's like 3 something in your neck of the area. You can email us at cosmicgodsdie at gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers, Twitter SwineBro666. For Jim and random ghosts that may or not be haunting us, I am Ellie Lindemood. So long and smoke pot.
Yes, definitely smoke pot, you motherfuckers. You need more experience in your lives.